Chapter 12:12. What important person? Knight Sorrow asked with a frown. It's the personal guard of a young master of the Black Fiend Valley. The young master has also arrived at the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Fei Xiu said with a bow. Go back and have a look. Chuyu, don't bring the child to the world of samsara in the future. Send someone to call me if there's anything. Knight Sorrow left the city in the sky with Summer City and Fei Xiu after instructing the Sikong Chuyu who had rushed over. Back at the 9-story tower, Knight Sorrow saw the person who had been captured by the Qing Emperor's guard. Let me go quickly, or my young master will not let you go, the man who had been captured roared. A personal guard is not important. Is this your real body or a doppelganger? Knight Sorrow asked. It's a doppelganger. Why don't you try to kill me? The man was very arrogant. Tell your young master not to provoke me, or he'll have to bear the consequences. Besides, I don't care about anyone. Not even your young master, let alone a personal guard like you. Take him away and kill him, Knight Sorrow ordered the Qing Emperor's guard directly. You'll regret it, my young master Li Ying, the personal guard kept roaring as he was dragged away. You're threatening me in the wrong place. I've even killed the prince of the Red Emperor's kingdom. What's a personal guard like you? Knight Sorrow snorted coldly. Then Knight Sorrow entered the main hall of the 9-story tower. It seems that the level of the enemy's people has increased. The 9-story tower's defense has been very tight in recent years. Some forces can't sit still and kill some people. We'll just offend some people, Summer City said. It doesn't matter who they offend. From the moment they came to the Qing Emperor's dynasty, they didn't show any respect to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. We're enemies. Even if the young master is captured, I'll still kill him, let alone a personal guard of the young master. Knight Sorrow said without hesitation. After all, this was someone bullying him. They didn't give him any face. Yes, but this time, we have slapped the face of the Black Fiend Valley's young valley master. The Black Fiend Valley is very strong. They have 2 sky pillar level figures. The other young valley masters are not at that level, but they are also the best among the monarchs, said Summer City. Judging from the arrogance of a guard, it's as if the Black Fiend Valley is the overlord of the world of samsara, Knight Sorrow said. Summer City nodded and told Knight Sorrow that in the world of samsara, the Black Fiend Valley was the most powerful force in the southern region. Just like Zhan Taiyang's sky-seizing island, it was a dominating force, but it was not strong enough to ignore the 3 superpowers in the eastern region. Let's see what they can do. Fei Xiu, continue to capture. If anyone comes, capture them. Interrogate them and kill them, Knight Sorrow ordered. Summer City and Fei Xiu bowed. They knew that although His Highness in front of them looked peaceful and approachable, he was hot-blooded. If anyone dared to offend and blaspheme him, he would fight back to the end. In a city near the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Qing Emperor's city, a young man was sitting in a courtyard and drinking tea. There were beautiful women waiting on him. Only one original version, the others are pirated versions. At this time, a man walked in. The man's face was pale. He was the man who Knight Sorrow ordered to be killed. Young master, I didn't do my job well. I was caught when I went to the 9-chong building where Knight Sorrow was. The man reported while kneeling on one knee. You are also a star king. Even if you were careless, you couldn't escape after being discovered? How could your clone be killed? The man who was drinking put down his cup and said. There were Qing Emperor's guards in the 9-chong building led by the sovereign. I was no match for them. I was trapped and captured. I told them that I was your personal guard, but they still attacked. They don't care about young master's face at all. The man who was kneeling on one knee said. At this time, the man who was drinking stood up and suddenly slapped the man's head. Are you a pig? We are plotting against them, and they still give us face? You even exposed your identity. Don't you deserve to die? The kneeling man's eyes were filled with fear, but he couldn't say anything. His deity ocean had been shattered by the man's palm. The young man kicked the dead guard away. Useless. You can't do anything right. My lord, don't be angry. It's okay if they know. What can they do in the Qing Emperor's dynasty? A beautiful woman waved her hand and asked someone to drag the body away. I, Li Ying, am not afraid. So what if they know? If I was afraid of them, I wouldn't have come. Knight Sorrow is just a guy who hasn't even lost his hair yet. Li Ying sat down and said. As a sovereign, Li Ying had no reason to be afraid of Knight Sorrow, even if Knight Sorrow was the crown prince of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Men, Li Ying shouted. Then, someone appeared in front of him. It was Li Ying's personal guard. Because sovereigns couldn't sneak into the Qing Emperor's city, Li Ying brought his men and hoarded them in this small city. Now, think of a way to sneak into the Qing Emperor's city. I want Knight Sorrow. No matter what method you use, think of a way to capture him. Another small group of people go to the Nine Sky World Group. He came from the Nine Sky World Group. His weakness should be there. Capture the people around him and we can make him submit. Li Ying gave another order. The fact that Chi Du brought people to the Nine Domain world and was completely wiped out was a secret. The Red Emperor's dynasty naturally wouldn't tell anyone because it would be embarrassing. Knight Sorrow and Datura naturally wouldn't tell anyone either. Every day, Yi Shang would study the books on array formations. He had even set up array formations all over the nine-story tower. The people of the nine-story tower naturally knew where the array formations were, but outsiders would be in trouble if they trespassed. With the improvement of Knight Sorrow's array skills, he set up an illusion array on the outside and a heaven-locking killing array on the inside. Even a high-level king would be trapped. There were often spies who noticed that some areas were unguarded and would sneak in. However, the unguarded areas were all big pits. If they trespassed into the array, they would be captured alive. Knight Sorrow didn't ask about it. Summer City and the others would finish interrogating him and give him a stab. In front of Knight Sorrow's table was a stack of information. They were all statements from spies. Knight Sorrow saw that except for the three forces in the eastern district of the world of Samsara, all the other forces had information. In other words, all the forces were interested in the fact that Knight Sorrow had the heavenly artifact. They all wanted to know the truth. On this day, Knight Sorrow was making tea. The concentric crystal in his sleeve vibrated. Hey! I'm out. Datura's figure was in the concentric crystal. You're with Lord Feather and Qinyan? Knight Sorrow saw that it was his children beside Datura. Yes. If you work hard, they will have to call me aunt in the future. Naturally, I have to cultivate my feelings. Datura's face was full of smiles. All right. After you came out, there's a big competition. I have to congratulate you. Knight Sorrow said. Wait a minute. You're in the mysterious sky world again. I'll go there first. Datura hung up. Chapter 12-13. Uncle Summer, let's go. Knight Sorrow walked out of the main hall and headed towards the teleportation array. Summer City followed behind. He knew that something was wrong because Knight Sorrow's face was filled with killing intent. He knew that Knight Sorrow hated people who had designs on his family. When Knight Sorrow arrived at Seven Night City, Datura had also just teleported over from the city in the sky. Since you're here, let's go together. Let's see which side you're on. Datura nodded at Knight Sorrow. Then, the three of them teleported to the mysterious heaven world. At this moment, outside the teleportation array in the mysterious heaven world, two groups of people were fighting. However, the group wearing blood-red robes had the absolute upper hand and was suppressing their attacks. Looking at their attack patterns, they're from the Black Fiend Valley. Datura's watery eyes behind her veil were filled with coldness and killing intent. There was a saying that one should not implicate one's family. It was fine to have designs on Knight Sorrow, but entering the mysterious heaven world meant that they had evil intentions. They wanted to target the people around Knight Sorrow. How could she not be angry? During this period of time, Datura had interacted with Night Sorrow's parents and wife. They got along very well. She would not allow anyone to disturb the peace of Seven Nights City and the city in the sky. Without Datura and Summer City's help, the battle was over. Li Ying's men were very strong. They were led by 2 sovereigns. However, Datura's blood-robed guards were 4 sovereigns. The 2 sides were not on the same level. Of the 20 people, besides the one who was killed, 3 were captured. Tell me, whose subordinates are you from the Black Fiend Valley? Are they Li Tianba's direct subordinates or Li Tianhu's subordinates? Mandela stepped forward and kicked a person who was squatting down. He looked like a leader. I'm not a subordinate of the 2 Valley Masters. I'm following young Valley Master Li Ying, the guard captain said. Li Ying? I don't know which bastard this is, but you're dead. If any of you have a clone, tell him that there are some things he can't do. If I catch him, I'll kill him. Datura took out his hollowed-out blade and waved it a few times, directly chopping up the captured people. Li Ying, I'll remember this name. The one I captured last time was also one of his personal guards. He sure was happy to dance, Night Sorrow mumbled to himself. I was a little impulsive. If we interrogate them, we can find out where their master is, Datura said. Night Sorrow shook his head. They're all personal guards. They'll talk about unimportant matters, but they won't talk about important matters. Be careful. Right now, many people are unscrupulous. Don't worry about this place. No matter how many people come, they won't be able to break in. Even if they are strong enough, if these people can't hold on, other blood guards will rush over. That is, unless they are stronger than the Dark Abyss, Datura said to Night Sorrow. B, that's it then. But they might hate you. Night Sorrow was a little worried that he would cause trouble for Datura. Nothing. Looking for me? Then let's give it a try. Right now, I'm itching to find someone to test my strength on, Datura said as he waved his hollow knife. After chatting with Datura for a while, Night Sorrow left. After returning to the Nine Chong building, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and pondered. If the 2 sky giants of the Black Fiend Valley really invade our Qing Emperor's dynasty, then it'll be a big problem. No. Everyone in the world of Samsara knows that the 3 powers of the Eastern District usually have disputes. But when it comes to important matters, we all work together because it's for the collective benefit of the Eastern District. In addition, His Majesty is also at the top of the Sky Giants level. The Dark Master, Datura, is also very famous. The Red Emperor is also not weak. No one will make trouble for us. You saw it today. The Dark Master, he's also very capricious. Who dares to provoke such a person? Summer City sighed. Datura was very murderous, and his hollow knife was deadly. But when he talked to Night Sorrow, his attitude changed obviously. Well, that's good. Let's continue to watch them struggle. Night Sorrow stretched his neck. No one could break into Chia City and the 9 Regions world. His home was safe, and so was the 9 Chong building. The Qing Emperor's dynasty restricted sovereigns from entering. Even if other sovereigns entered the Qing Emperor's city through other means without being detected, it was extremely difficult to do anything. There was more than one sovereign in the 9 Chong building. Summer City and Fei Xiu were both sovereigns, and there were also the Qing Emperor's guards who could compete with sovereigns. In addition, there was an army stationed in the 9 Chong building. After Nu Lin, Qin Leitang, Wei Wei, and 7 absolutes learned that Night Sorrow was in danger, they had decided to set up a permanent army in 9-story tower. Originally, 9-story tower also had a military camp and a training field. Night Sorrow did not reject the good intentions of his brothers. He allowed Nu Lin and the others to make the arrangements. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and the other princes often came to visit Night Sorrow. Now, all the children of the Qing Emperor recognized Night Sorrow. The one who came to Night Sorrow's place the most frequently was Qing Yuan. He was very grateful that Night Sorrow had protected him back then. He understood that Night Sorrow was also someone who could be brothers with him. When Night Sorrow had nothing to do, he would also go to the Azure Sky Pavilion to drink some tea with the Qing Emperor. Although Night Sorrow's original body had not awakened from the understanding of the sky and the earth, he was not in a hurry. He was almost certain that he had already started to understand the will of nothingness. He was now in a deep state of understanding. Perhaps when he woke up, he would be a 2-star king. It should be known that Night Sorrow's main element and soul were both nothingness elements. He was the most compatible with the nothingness element. In other words, compared to the time and space elements, it was easier for him to understand the will of nothingness. The time and space elements entered the king's realm first because he had not yet understood the will of nothingness. At this moment, in that courtyard, Li Ying was stamping with rage because one of his personal guards had been annihilated. Many cultivators had clones. If they had clones, they would often fight with clones. This time, a few of Li Ying's subordinates had fought with clones. They had survived. D***, why is there such a strong team guarding? Li Ying could not understand. Besides, this time, they had suffered heavy losses. Looking at their clothes and attacking methods, they should be from the Dark Abyss. In the beginning, monarchs led the team to attack us. The other two who appeared later were very strong. One was a monarch, but his aura was very strong. He should be a peak monarch. The other was a woman who killed people. I can't see how strong she is, the guard captain said. There should be something we don't know. Don't go to the Nine Sky World Group. It seems that the guards there are very strong. There is no possibility of breaking in. Focus on Qing Emperor's city. Isn't that Night Sorrow very confident now? If he doesn't go back to his nest, we will have a chance. He is not qualified to use the heavenly artifact yet, Li Ying said with narrowed eyes. There is something else that I don't know if I should say, the guard captain said. Say it. Li Ying glared at the guard captain. The woman whose strength I can't see clearly said the names of the Valley Master and the Deputy Valley Master. She was very disdainful, the guard captain said with a bow. Chapter 12-14. How dare you? But to be able to say something like that, you must be at least on the same level as father and uncle. If I'm not wrong, that should be the Dark Dominator, Li Ying. The guard captain did not say anything. He did not say what Datura had said about Li Ying. He felt that if he said that, Li Ying would be so angry that he would vomit blood. He might even kill him. With a wave of his hand, Li Ying dismissed the guard captain. Being surrounded by 4 sovereigns, it was inevitable that the entire army would be wiped out. Li Ying could not blame anyone, nor could he blame anyone for not doing his job well. However, he had a backup plan. Most of his guards had infiltrated the Qing Emperor's city. Li Ying felt that if he could gain something here, his losses would be negligible. After Night Sorrow returned to 9-story tower, he did the same every day. He studied arrays and array Dao. Other than that, he took orders to forge weapons and make pills. He took orders to forge weapons and make pills to earn king-grade materials. To Night Sorrow, the more the better. When he was free, Night Sorrow would return to the 9 Domains world to spend time with his child. Night Sorrow's life was stable. However, 9-story tower was capturing more and more people. They even killed 2 sovereigns. These people mainly came from 2 forces. One was Zhan Taiyang's sky-seizing island, and the other was Li Ying's men from Black Fiend Valley. Without Night Sorrow's request, Summer City ordered them all to be killed. The Qing Emperor knew about this. When he heard that some sovereigns had sneaked into the Qing Emperor's city, the Qing Emperor ordered the Qing Emperor's guards to increase their patrols. He also sent out secret guards to assassinate Black Fiend Valley and Sky-Seizing Island. It was impolite not to reciprocate. The Qing Emperor also wanted to let the Black Fiend Valley and Sky-Seizing Island know that the Qing Emperor's dynasty was not a place where they could do whatever they wanted. Night Sorrow did not know about this. The Qing Emperor would not tell him about this. Li Ying was furious at the constant loss of his men. If this continued, not only would he not be able to afford it, but it would also not be effective. After giving it some thought, Li Yin ordered his men to stop the operation for a while he gathered more men. He planned to use a heavy punch to break through the 9-story tower's defenses. Fighting on a small scale would only result in the loss of manpower, and there would not be any results. On this day, Knight Sorrow, who was studying array formations, suddenly stood up. A mysterious aura appeared on his body. Then, his aura began to rise until it reached the peak of 3-Star King. Peak 3-Star King. Several years ago, Knight Sorrow's cultivation base had risen to the peak of the 3-Star King realm. His cultivation base was at the will of nothingness boundary. But because his energy couldn't keep up, he had to awaken from his state of enlightenment. Excitement. Knight Sorrow was filled with excitement. This was because it had come at the right time. With the peak of the 3-Star King realm's nothingness attribute, combined with the time and space attributes, his great emperor reincarnation / could be unleashed. Summer City was also a bit stunned. Knight Sorrow's aura suppressed him greatly. This was not something that could be done with high-level attributes. "Uncle Summer, I need to go out," Knight Sorrow said. "Okay." Summer City nodded. He knew that Knight Sorrow had something to do. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger left the 9-story tower and went to the 9-domain world. He wanted to get the time and space treasure pagoda to increase his cultivation base. That way, his battle power could keep up. His main body had brought some resources to increase his cultivation base. But if he wanted to increase his nothingness chi to the peak of the 3-Star King realm, he would need the time and space treasure pagoda. While Knight Sorrow's doppelganger was on the move, Knight Sorrow's main body said goodbye to the reincarnation palace and then left to undergo the tribulation. The lightning tribulation was naturally the most difficult 9-stage lightning tribulation. However, Knight Sorrow had 3 types of energy in him. He had sufficient time and space energy, so he wasn't as weak as most people who had just advanced. Thus, passing the tribulation wasn't difficult for him. After the tribulation, Knight Sorrow's body gained 2 more types of black energy and 1 type of energy filled with vitality. This was what Knight Sorrow had obtained when he advanced his time attribute. Knight Sorrow woke up the person cultivating in the time and space treasure pagoda and teleported to the reincarnation city. Then, he handed the time and space treasure pagoda to his main body and left some resources behind. Then, he and Summer City returned to the 9-story tower. Knight Sorrow's main body communicated with the reincarnation palace and then entered the time and space treasure pagoda to increase his cultivation base. After returning to the 9-story tower, Knight Sorrow told He Qiu and Jun Xuanji that he would not accept any orders for the time being. Although they were a little surprised, He Qiu and Jun Xuanji did not ask. They would only carry out Knight Sorrow's orders. Knight Sorrow told Summer City and Fei Xiu that no one was allowed to approach the back of the hall. Then, he went to the training field behind the hall to cultivate. It was his personal training field. When the will of nothingness reached the pinnacle of the 3-Star King, Knight Sorrow wanted to increase the power of the great Emperor Samsara / It was a killer move to kill enemies and defend oneself. It was a true unique skill. In the boundless universe, one's cultivation base was a part of one's battle strength. Another part was battle skills and mystic skills. There were also secret skills that surpassed mystic skills. Secret skills were also called unique skills. Only the most powerful people could create unique skills. Even if someone cultivated a unique skill, they might have obtained the handwritten notes or ancient books from their predecessors. Summer City knew that Knight Sorrow's strength had increased again. Now, it was time for him to adapt. After everyone's cultivation base increased, there would be a time for them to adapt to their battle skills and cultivation base. If one's cultivation base was high but his battle strength was low, it would be a sign of incompetence. Controlling the energy of nothingness and the will of nothingness as the main body, Knight Sorrow began to fuse the time and space attribute energy. Then, he performed the mystic skill of the great Emperor Samsara / according to the Qing Emperor's teachings and began to cultivate. Every time Knight Sorrow attacked, he would pierce through space or create spatial cracks. The spatial black holes were either shattered or melted. Lai Kong's body had a deep purple light wave. The light wave could cover an area, and that area would be filled with a special aura. Night Sorrow knew that it was an area that could affect the opponent's soul and will. Just like when Datura performed the Death Annihilation Slash, the light wave would envelop the opponent, killing them before they could move or dodge. Night Sorrow's purple halo also had the same effect. This was the power of a unique skill. The will and rules could affect everything in an area. After feeling the power of the great Emperor Samsara Slash, Night Sorrow was very excited to cultivate. He didn't come out even once for a few days because he wanted to perfect and maximize the power of the great Emperor Samsara Slash. During one of their communications, Datura noticed that Night Sorrow's condition was different. She asked about it. She was strong, but she couldn't use the concentric crystal to determine her opponent's cultivation base. There was only one original version. The rest were pirated versions. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything from Datura. He told her about his current situation. "You're very good. You reached the peak of the 3-star king rank so quickly. It's a pity that you were interrupted because your energy cultivation base wasn't high enough. However, you crossed 3 levels in one go. This is a first. Very good. I'll be waiting for you." Datura's beautiful face was full of smiles. Chapter 12-15. Datura didn't wear a veil when she was in the city in the sky or when she was facing Night Sorrow. She knew that this was a sign of respect. She felt that since she was engaged to Night Sorrow, she had to take it seriously and put her heart into it. She couldn't afford to be estranged from him. "I haven't reached the intermediate king level yet. It's still too early for that." Night Sorrow shook his head. "You're not in a hurry and aren't looking forward to it, right?" Datura looked unhappy. "You've misunderstood. I'm working very hard right now because I want to give the people around me peace. I also don't want to disappoint you," Night Sorrow said. "Yeah, I'm just teasing you. I know you're working very hard. Don't tire yourself out." Datura's unhappy expression turned into a smile after hearing Night Sorrow's words. "I know. If you need anything, just use the communication crystal," Night Sorrow nodded. After disconnecting the communication crystal, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. He wanted to perfect the Emperor Reincarnation Slash as soon as possible. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Summer City arrived. "Your Highness, Xuexi is here. Tomorrow is Qingyan's birthday. The family hopes that you can go back." "I almost forgot. I have to go back." Night Sorrow took a sip of water from a teacup on the stone table beside the training ground. "Huh, you're a good father. No matter when, if your son and daughter need anything, you'll be there immediately," Summer City said with a smile. "I'm a father. I won't say anything if I don't spend time with them properly. However, I want the children to know that as long as they need it, their father will definitely be by their side," Night Sorrow said as he put down the teacup. Summer City nodded. He understood. This was Night Sorrow's philosophy. Nothing was more important than his family. No matter what happened at home, he would place importance on it. After that, Night Sorrow asked Jun Xuanji to go to the Qing Emperor's city to buy some delicacies that couldn't be found in the 9 regions world. Then, he personally made 2 small toys before he prepared to go home. When Night Sorrow arrived at the city in the sky, he saw Sikong Chuyu waiting with the 2 children. "Why are you waiting here?" Night Sorrow went up and carried the 2 children. Yujun said that he missed his father. "I told him that you would be back soon, so he dragged me here to wait for you. Fortunately, you came back in time and didn't disappoint the child." Sikong Chuyu had a smile on her face, and her tender face was full of motherly radiance. "The next time the child is in a hurry, arrange for someone to call me," Yishan said. Sikong Chuyu nodded. She knew that Yishang valued his family more than anything else. Night Sorrow played with the children for a long time. When the children were tired, Night Sorrow sat down and drank some tea. "These 2 little guys are really troublesome." Huh, they're just like you when you were young, full of energy, Papa Goose said with a smile. Dad, I was like this when I was young too. Thank you for your hard work. He poured a glass of wine for Papa Goo. You don't have to be so polite with your foster father, Papa Goose shook his head. Some time ago, Papa Goo told Night Sorrow that Night Sorrow had found his parents. It wasn't appropriate for him to call him Dad now, so he asked Night Sorrow to call him foster father. However, Night Sorrow still insisted on calling him that. Yujun and Qingyan love fishing with Papa Goo now, Yuqing said with a smile. Yuqing said with a smile. In Sky City, Father Goo was a title. No matter how high one's seniority was, they would all call him that. Back then, you urged me to take care of the children. Now, I can't complain that I'm tired, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Not to mention 2, even 10 wouldn't be a problem. 1 sheep, 2 sheep, and a flock of sheep are all free, Papa Goo said with a smile. Papa Goo's words made everyone laugh. However, they all knew that it wasn't easy for Night Sorrow to have children. Yujun and Qingyan's birth was a blessing from the heavens. Summer City felt that this was human kindness. In the world of reincarnation, there were very few families like this. At least, he didn't know of any. Being too utilitarian led to a lack of human kindness. Uncle Xia, drink up. Night Sorrow filled Summer City's glass with wine. Your Highness, when you can do whatever you want in the world, I'll come here to enjoy my retirement, Summer City said. Okay, there's nothing else in the future. Uncle Xia, you can come here and rest. There's plenty of good wine and tea, Night Sorrow said. Seeing that it was still early, Night Sorrow let Papa Goo and Summer City drink tea while he took the transmission array to walk around. The 9 regions world was peaceful now. Of course, there were still some disputes. Some small forces and families were fighting for territory. Such things existed everywhere. It was natural selection and survival of the fittest. After walking around the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow talked with his senior brothers for a while and invited them to the city in the sky tomorrow to drink. After that, Night Sorrow went to Chen Chen's tea house outside the sacred hall of Dongxian City. What's going on? Why are you here? Chen Chen was a little surprised to see Night Sorrow. He knew about Night Sorrow's situation. He knew that Night Sorrow had a lot of things to do outside. Why can't I come? Isn't it good to see my adopted brother and sister-in-law? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Of course it's good. I'm just a little surprised. Chen Chen took out a jar of wine. I'm here to drink tea. Let's drink tomorrow. Tomorrow is my son's birthday, Night Sorrow said with a smile. We've already prepared the gifts. We'll remember this. Even if you didn't invite us, we would still go tomorrow. Chen Chen smiled and began to make tea. You're so considerate. Several years have passed in the blink of an eye. The 9 regions world has changed so much. If it changes again, I won't be able to find my way here, Night Sorrow said with some emotion. Yes, the Taiqing domain is the core of the 9 regions world, followed by our Dongxian domain. You haven't been to Zhuyuan village, have you? It's already the 2nd city in the Dongxian domain. It's developing very well now, Chen Chen said. I haven't. I plan to go after drinking tea with you. I want to pay my respects to the Tuyi family martyrs, Night Sorrow said. I go there often. I've experienced a lot of ups and downs in Zhuyuan City in my life, Chen Chen said. Your life? It's still too early. Night Sorrow smiled. At this time, Chen Chen's cultivation was at the Venerable Realm. Because of the resources given by Yi Qianhua and his constant cultivation, he had naturally comprehended the realm of being one with the world. Haha. It's still early. Let's go. We'll go to Zhuyuan City. It's a place that left a deep impression on us. With the change in his state of mind, Chen Chen didn't care about those unbearable memories of his past. He knew that it was also a form of growth. When they arrived at Zhuyuan City, Night Sorrow felt that the changes were too great. It was like heaven and earth had been turned upside down. Zhuyuan City was very prosperous, but Zhuyuan Village was still the same. There were no changes because it was a sacred place where Sector Lord Knight Sorrow had lived in when he was young. Head, hair, I also have a tea house here. I also plan to open a tea house in the place where you live now. This way, when you're tired and feel uneasy, we can drink tea together, Chin Chin said. Second update. Chapter 12:16. That's a good idea, but the taste of the people there is relatively higher. The tea has to be good, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Of course, there's something I haven't told you. I still have my own tea garden. I've cultivated the heart-cleansing tea. It's no different from natural tea, Chin Chin said. I have to say, you're doing well now. The owner of the tea house and tea garden is doing very well. Knight Sorrow looked at Chin Chin. He really did not expect Chin Chin to have changed so much. I'm the owner of a tea house myself. Naturally, I have to develop good tea. Otherwise, what would the owner do? I also have to accumulate some assets for my 2 sons. I'm not a good cultivator, but I'll be a very good and honest businessman. Chin Chin stated his position. Maybe you're right, but no matter what you do, I'll support you. Knight Sorrow nodded to Chin Chin. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Yi Shang offered incense to the members of the Yi clan who had sacrificed their lives to protect him. Only then did he walk around with Chin Chin. Before leaving, Knight Sorrow patted the wooden horse that Father Gu had made for him. This was the most profound thing in his memory. Some people and some things, once experienced, would never be forgotten. Knight Sorrow also went to see the old people of Bamboo Garden Village, but some were no longer there. This was how the world changed. This was how time was like a knife. Uncle Nyo was very old, but he was still in good spirits. He was very happy to see Knight Sorrow. When drinking, Knight Sorrow inadvertently put the life serum in Uncle Nyo's wine glass. Uncle Nyo and the others were ordinary people. This was all he could do. After that, Knight Sorrow and Chin Chin went their separate ways in Dongxian City. Knight Sorrow returned to the city in the sky and Chin Chin went home. After returning home, Knight Sorrow went to rest. Although there were some things that he could not do, he could chat with his wife. After celebrating his child's birthday, Yi Shang returned to the 9-layer pagoda and once again began cultivating. He could sense that his true energy cultivation base had increased. Because the space-time pagoda had increased his true energy cultivation base by 20 times, and because Yi Shang had enough resources to increase his true energy cultivation base, his true energy cultivation base had increased very quickly. Even if his true energy cultivation did not improve, his realm was at the king level. The will and rules of the world were also at the king level, so his combat strength had improved a lot. Mandela often communicated with Yi Shang. She mainly talked about Zhu Jiuyun's situation. Although Zhu Jiuyun had comprehended the will of fire, she had not entered the king level. Datura wanted Zhu Jiuyun to go directly to the dark abyss to comprehend the will of death. After all, there was a big gap between the two. It could be said that her future achievements would be different. The combination of death energy, rules, and will could allow her to fight those above her level. However, the will of fire could not do this. Zhu Jiuyun accepted Datura's arrangement. She knew that this was an opportunity. Datura was doing this for Knight Sorrow's sake. There was no need for him to trick her. She also knew what kind of person Datura was, his identity in the dark abyss, and his status in the world of reincarnation. He was truly a giant who stood at the peak of the cultivation world. Knight Sorrow was not worried about Zhu Jiuyun's situation. Zhu Jiuyun was a person who understood the big picture. As long as Datura treated her seriously, Zhu Jiuyun would work hard. If there are any good seedlings who are suitable to develop in the dark abyss, send them over. I will help you nurture them. They will definitely have a bright future. Datura looked at Knight Sorrow and said. There are indeed some, but their level is a little low. I hope you don't mind. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Dark attribute? I can get someone to guide them. There is still a chance for them to advance to the death attribute. Datura said. They have the death attribute. The other one should have it too. He told me that his attribute is evolving. Night Sorrow said. Guanyi had the death attribute. Qin Jin also had the dark attribute. Night Sorrow did not ask after that. Okay. Arrange for them to wait at the 7 Night Cities teleportation formation. I will pick them up later. Datura said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow asked Red Coat to deal with it. He continued to cultivate the Great Emperor reincarnation / Although he had succeeded, there was still room for improvement. While Night Sorrow was cultivating quietly, Li Ying appeared in a secluded courtyard in the Qing Emperor city. He had gathered some people around him. Young Valley Master, because of their strong blockade, some of our people were killed even though we flew in from the city walls. We only have 2/3 of our people left. Li Ying's personal guard, Li Kai, reported the situation. This number is enough. We are not going to destroy the 9 grand floors. We are going to capture them. Capturing Night Sorrow alone is not enough. We have to capture everyone around him. Only then will he submit. Also, we need to retreat. We don't have much time. If we don't end this quickly, the people from the Qing Emperor dynasty will come to our rescue. Li Ying said. I have already made the arrangements. We have set up a teleportation formation in the backyard of a restaurant not far from the 9 grand floors. Li Kai said. Okay. Let's not waste any time. We will take action tonight. Li Ying made the decision. He knew very well that it was dangerous. However, if they succeeded, the benefits would be endless. After cultivating, Night Sorrow went to the Sky Tiger Pass to check if there was anything wrong. Only then did he return to the 9 grand floors. Just as Night Sorrow was making tea, the sound of battle came from the 9 grand floors. Night Sorrow led Summer City, Red Coat, and Lawning out of the main hall. At this time, many men in black appeared in the 9 grand floors. There were close to 100 of them, and all of them had high cultivation bases. Are they going to fight? Summer City's face was full of killing intent. However, he did not move. He knew that these people were here for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's safety was the most important thing. The enemy had the advantage in numbers. They were able to suppress the Qing Emperor's guards. However, it would be difficult for them to kill the Qing Emperor's guards because the Qing Emperor's guards had a joint attack formation. Restraining the Qing Emperor's guards was enough for Li Ying. At this time, Li Ying led his men and rushed toward Night Sorrow and Summer City. His target was Night Sorrow. If he could capture Night Sorrow, he would have the chance to get the heavenly divine artifact, the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Then, even if he was not a Sky Master, he would have the qualifications to talk to a Sky Master. You're courting death. Kill. Summer City brandished his sword and fought. He could not let others threaten Night Sorrow's safety. Night Sorrow held the Sky Splitter in his hand. Although his cultivation base was low and was not on the same level as his opponent, he wanted to test the power of the Great Emperor's reincarnation / if Night Sorrow wanted to fight. Get into formation. Surround and kill. Send someone to inform the soldiers of Tian who pass to come. The Dingxiang army stationed in the 9 grand floors had also arrived. The leader was the hot-tempered Wei Wei. At this time, there were a few people standing in the dark outside the 9 grand floors. They were wearing dark red clothes. Leader, what should we do? One of them asked. We can't interfere in this situation. The Qing Emperor's guards will be here soon. They don't care who we are and will attack us directly. Let's go back. Didn't those brats set up a teleportation formation in our tavern? Let's go back and watch the teleportation formation. We'll kill them one by one, the man in front of the team said. Chapter 12-17. See? On the original chapter. Xia Cheng blocked Li Ying and suppressed Li Ying's attacks. Li Ying was very strong. Although he was not a match for Summer City, he was very fast. Summer City's blades missed him. At this time, Li Ying's subordinates surrounded Night Sorrow. Fortunately, Wei Wei was there and could hold them off. However, more and more people were coming. Night Sorrow's Lai Kong also made his move. Because he was not as strong as these people, he could not fight them head-on. Night Sorrow pushed his time and space attributes to the extreme. He also used the Great Earth Cycle Slash. Danger. This was not a danger for 9-story tower. It was Night Sorrow's danger. The enemy did not have the ability to destroy 9-story tower, but they had the ability to hurt Night Sorrow. At this time, the people from Sky Tiger Pass had not arrived. The main reason was that Li Ying's men were fighting with all their might. They wanted to capture Night Sorrow and even kill him. Li Ying felt that the Haotian Godly Pagoda was very likely to be with Night Sorrow. He was also not sure if Night Sorrow was the original body or a clone. Just as the Angry Lin army and the Thunder army teleported over, Li Ying shouted, "Do it!" Hearing Li Ying's order, the Black Fiend Valley guards surrounding Night Sorrow waved their arms. A large black net appeared and flew towards Night Sorrow. Great Emperor Cycle Slash. It was too late to dodge. Night Sorrow used his ultimate skill. As Night Sorrow stabbed out, purple light burst out and a large hole appeared in the black net. Night Sorrow's body flashed and rushed out. However, the black net covered a large area. Night Sorrow rushed out, but Hong Yi and Lan Ning, who were not far from Night Sorrow, were captured by the net. At this time, the Angry Lin army and Qin Leitang also rushed over. Retreat. Night Sorrow, if you want these two people, give me the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Li Ying roared and retreated with his men. But at this time, the Angry Lin army soldiers formed a formation and surrounded them. Night Sorrow chased after the high-level king who was holding the Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, but he was stopped by the others. Seeing the Red Spectre and Blue Shadow being taken away, Night Sorrow was infuriated. If you can't capture them, just kill them. Li Ying ran. Speed was his forte. Even though he had taken a hit from Summer City, his armor had been broken, and he had spat out a mouthful of blood, his speed did not slow down. As he ran, Summer City chased after him. Most of Li Ying's subordinates had run away. They were all elites under Li Ying's command, and their combat power was also very strong. Without Night Sorrow's orders, Nu Lin arranged for 2 armies to be stationed at Heaven Tiger Pass while the others went out to capture the culprit. The Qing Emperor's guards came a little later, but they also joined the operation. At this time, in the Tavern of the Dark Abyss, there were people lying in ambush, but they did not make a move. Even if someone came, they did not make a move. They were all waiting. Their captain, Jiepa, had discovered that someone from 9-story tower was being held hostage. They could not let anything happen to the hostage. When the black-clothed man holding the Red Spectre and Blue Shadow arrived and stepped onto the teleportation array, Jiepa made a move and directly killed him. Jiepa's snake-like thin sword appeared from the side of the teleportation array and directly pierced the man carrying the black net between his eyebrows, killing him in one move. This was the strength of the captain of the Blood Strike Guard. Jiepa threw the black net into the hands of the people behind him. Then, he and the others attacked the people of Black Fiend Valley. Massacre. The Blood Strike Guards of the Dark Abyss were originally good at assassination. When they suddenly attacked, the people of Black Fiend Valley could not withstand it. They had just rushed out of 9-story tower and scattered, so there was no organization. Soon, the first dozen people were killed by Jiepa's men. You too, don't struggle and shout. We are following orders. We are working for Night Sorrow. We will send you back later. Let go of the 2 of them, Jiepa said. Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, who were struggling in the black net, were stunned. They did not understand what was going on. It is not safe here. We are going to the next location. Red Spectre, I am Jiepa. I know you. Actually, you are one of Night Sorrow's people who came to us, but you have never been here, Jiepa said. You know me? Red Spectre was confused. I don't have time to explain it to you now. Men, take the two of them to the next location. When things calm down, send them back, Jiepa said. He still had things to do. He had to wait for the people of Black Fiend Valley to come. If they came, he would kill them. At 9-story tower, Summer City returned. Your Highness, that guy was Li Ying. He was too fast. I could not catch up and kill him. Uncle Xia, don't think too much. They were unprepared. It is inevitable that we will be at a disadvantage. Night Sorrow shook his head. He was very angry. Red Spectre and Blue Shadow were captured. He had to save them. This put him in a passive position. At this time, Night Sorrow was not the only one who was angry. In the temporary courtyard, Li Ying learned from his men that they had captured Red Spectre and Blue Shadow subordinates. They were not teleported away as they wished. They were intercepted and killed in the dark. The people who went to the teleportation array were all killed. Who? Who is it? Li Ying waved his hand and broke the tea table in front of him. Because he was so close to success, suddenly there was a problem. After capturing Red Spectre and Blue Shadow, Li Ying felt that there was a great chance to exchange for the Haotian Godly Pagoda in Night Sorrow's hands. According to the information he had investigated, Night Sorrow would not give up on the people around him. Otherwise, he would not have achieved the body of merit. So with Night Sorrow's people in hand, it was easy to succeed. Now that they were intercepted, it was equivalent to a failure. Failure. Li Ying knew that in the current situation, he had no chance. Now, leaving the Qing Emperor's city was the best choice. Li Ying set up the teleportation array and waited for his subordinates to return. In the Qing Emperor's city, it was not easy to set up a teleportation array. Many places were interfered with by arrays. Li Ying searched for a long time to find the blind spots to set up the teleportation array in the tavern and this courtyard. Now that such a big problem had occurred, the Qing Emperor's city would definitely be cleaned up. He had to leave. While Night Sorrow was waiting for the news, he really got the news. Red Spectre and Blue Shadow had returned. Seeing the two return, Night Sorrow stood up excitedly. Are you okay? Another group of people saved us. They said they were working for you, but it seems that they are not from the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Red Spectre said. I understand. It's good that you are safe. We will remember this. Li Ying of the Black Fiend Valley, I will not let him go. Night Sorrow's face was filled with murderous intent. This was not the first time Li Ying had provoked him. The first time Li Ying sent his personal guards, it was equivalent to a conversation. Then, Li Ying did not stop. He wanted to attack his family in the 9-domain world. Now, he wanted to capture the people around him. This had crossed Night Sorrow's bottom line. Also, this storage ring. Someone asked me to bring it to you. He said you should have gone to get it a long time ago. You didn't, so he could only ask me to bring it to you. Red Spectre took out a storage ring. Night Sorrow nodded and took the storage ring. He knew that the people who saved Red Spectre and Blue Shadow were Datura subordinates. This time, they really helped him a lot. Chapter 12:18. You two go and rest. Uncle Summer, tell Nu Lin and the others to kill all those who can catch up to them and then retreat. Don't cause a commotion in the city, Night Sorrow said. Okay, I'll pass on the message right away. Summer City nodded. He knew Night Sorrow very well. If Red Coat and Lanning didn't come back, Night Sorrow would turn the Qing Emperor city upside down. Now that they were fine, he wouldn't continue to do things arrogantly. Back in the main hall, Night Sorrow vibrated the concentric crystal and communicated with Datura. Today is really strange. You actually took the initiative to look for me. Don't tell me you miss me. I don't believe it. Datura's face was full of smiles. It's not like you to have so little confidence. However, I'm here to thank you. I ran into some trouble today and your subordinates helped me solve it. They also gave me a storage ring, Night Sorrow said. So that's how it is. Hee hee, it's nothing. They've been gone for a few years just to help you today. I've told you twice about the resources, but you didn't take them, so I didn't bother to tell you. Now, they're finally in your hands, Mandela said. I, Night Sorrow, am an indomitable man. It's not appropriate for you to take care of me, Night Sorrow said as he shook his head. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow didn't take the resources for a few years. Do you need to be so clear with me? Besides, didn't I use your soul cultivation liquid? You should know that rejection is sometimes hurtful. It's the attitude of treating me as an outsider. Datura's smile disappeared. I'll take it, I'll take it. Don't be unhappy. It's all my fault. Night Sorrow looked at Datura's disappointed expression and suddenly felt bitter because he inadvertently made Datura unhappy. You really know you're wrong? Datura asked. I really know I'm wrong. Maybe it's not wrong to persist, but it's wrong to make you unhappy. Night Sorrow nodded. Good, now I understand. A smile appeared on Datura's face. She was very happy. She knew about Night Sorrow's persistence. Now, because of her emotions, Night Sorrow was willing to change himself. This was very important to her. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow and Datura ended the call. After the battle, there were many things that needed to be dealt with. People from the Nine Chong Pagoda were killed in the battle as well. More than a dozen soldiers were killed in the battle. Li Ying's men were all highly skilled in battle, so the soldiers were not able to hold on for long. After dealing with the aftermath, Night Sorrow returned to the hall and opened his storage ring. This is my gift to you. Keep it well. Night Sorrow probed with his soul power and saw Datura's image. However, the image soon disappeared. Night Sorrow knew that this was Datura's soul imprint. If someone else opened it, Datura would know, and the consequences would be severe. Chapter 5, latest Chapter 5. After probing, Night Sorrow was shocked. He knew what it meant to be rich. There was a small mountain of Saint Spirit stones, at least a few 100,000. There were also some materials for refining weapons and alchemy. Night Sorrow smiled. This was Datura. This was the aura and temperament of the Dark Dominator. Night Sorrow decided to accept it. If he did, Datura would be angry again. While Night Sorrow was checking the resources, the Qing Emperor's city was in action. The Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards were all mobilized to clean up the Qing Emperor's city. Unknown people were arrested, and those who resisted were killed. The Qing Emperor knew about the 9 grand floors, and this made him very angry. Attacking his disciples in the Qing Emperor's dynasty was like slapping him in the face. Li Ying returned to the Black Fiend Valley with a pale face. Almost all of his men were killed, and the teleportation array in the tavern could not be used. With the Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards chasing after him, his men could not escape even if they wanted to. Li Ying understood that this was the consequence of angering the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor's dynasty was run by the Qing Emperor for countless years. The Qing Emperor's city was right under his nose. This time, he had angered the Qing Emperor. Naturally, his men could not retreat. Li Ying's heart was stifled. He knew that he was one step behind. If his men had brought Hong Yi and Lanning back, the situation would not be like this. He lost half of his men and gained nothing. Li Ying could not accept this. He knew that he had miscalculated something. He only thought about the 9 grand floors and did not think about other people. Night Sorrow finished checking the resources given to him by the Datura. The Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi arrived. Greetings, Master. Night Sorrow bowed to the Qing Emperor. Are you okay? The Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow. No problem. Also, please forgive me, Master. I did not use the army recklessly. At that time, the enemy kidnapped someone close to me. I did everything I could to save her. Knight Sorrow said. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the army could not be used recklessly without the order of the military. Knight Sorrow was the first commander. He had the authority to mobilize all the army, but he also needed to report to the military. You can use others. It's fine if you want to. They slapped us in the face, so naturally, we have to slap them back. You don't have to worry about the rest. I have something to tell you, but now is a good time to tell you. All the cultivators in the boundless universe are in human form, but 70% of them are not. Some of the more powerful races have formed their own worlds. Recently, a special world will appear. If you have nothing to do, you can go and have some fun. If you don't want to go, just stay in the 9 grand floors. Other than the team of Qing Emperor's guards assigned to you, the other Qing Emperor's guards will also pay attention to this place, the Qing Emperor said. What world? Knight Sorrow asked. The Ice Dragon World, a branch of the dragons. The most important thing is that there are ice dragon bones in that world. If you use the bones of an ice dragon to set up a formation, the power will be shocking. For example, in Chia City, if you use the bones of an ice dragon that has recognized its master as the core to set up a formation, the city will be indestructible, the Qing Emperor said. Then I have to go there, Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a while. In addition, you need to cultivate your body. The blood essence of the dragons is the best material to improve your body's strength and cultivation. The Qing Emperor nodded. He was clear about Knight Sorrow's situation. When will the Ice Dragon World appear? Knight Sorrow asked. In a month, but there are some things you need to know. Many people will go there, and there will be people from all the major forces, so you must be careful. If you are not careful, you will die, the Qing Emperor said. I understand. Wealth comes from danger. If something happens, it's just a matter of one of my avatars. Knight Sorrow was very open-minded. In the Great Thousand World, many cultivators made the same choice. Their original body would cultivate, and then their avatars would go out to explore and look for resources. This way, they could quickly improve their strength. However, every cultivator's soul power was limited. If one's avatars were to be lost, they would have to face everything with caution. Because if something went wrong, they would be completely destroyed. There was a chance for reincarnation, but that was another beginning. Most of the time, the opponent would not give them a chance to reincarnate. Chapter 12:19. First P. Also, Summer City can't go with you this time, because the Ice Dragon realm has restrictions. It's not the restrictions of the origin of the realm, but it's suspected that there's a sleeping ice dragon. The aura of a monarch will wake it up, so no monarchs will go, Qing Emperor reminded Knight Sorrow again. Your Highness, when you return, bring that damaged item of yours with you. After a few years of recuperation, this old man can perform divinations again, Xian Daozi said. Right now, my true self is using it to speed up my cultivation. When I get back, I'll go find Uncle Xian Daozi. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was very grateful in his heart. Divination was related to the karma of the heavenly Tao, and it was harmful to the user. No one would be willing to use divination unless there was a great enlightenment or a major event. I'll find a suitable team for you. You can lead the team, Qing Emperor said. Knight Sorrow shook his head. Master, there's no need for that. I can run fast on my own and I'm a small target. If there's anything, I'll just hide. The Qing Emperor pondered for a while. Originally, he had planned to send someone to protect Knight Sorrow. Now that Knight Sorrow was going alone, he doubted whether it was right for him to tell Knight Sorrow about this. After thinking for a while, the Qing Emperor felt that he should trust in Knight Sorrow's ability, so he didn't object. After the Qing Emperor left, Knight Sorrow knew that he had to fight again. How many fights could one have in life? Knight Sorrow wouldn't give up such an opportunity because he didn't have many materials to increase his body's energy, and he didn't have much life essence left. In addition, at Night Sorrow's current level, it was not suitable for him to cultivate with the life spirit fluid. Firstly, he would not be able to keep up with the pace. Secondly, the life spirit fluid would be more effective in replenishing his vitality. In other words, it was a waste to cultivate with the life spirit fluid. After informing Hichio and Summer City, Night Sorrow returned to Chia City. After arriving at the lakeside house, Night Sorrow took out the concentric crystal and showed it to Datura. Lakeside Cottage? Why did you go back to Lakeside Cottage? Seeing the scenery behind Night Sorrow, Datura asked out of amazement. Why can't I come back? This is also my home. Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. Wait for me, I'll be there soon, Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded and cut off the communication crystal. He wanted to ask about the Ice Dragon Realm. The Qing Emperor knew a lot, but as the Dark Ruler, Datura should also know a little. There was no harm in making sufficient preparations. Soon, Datura rushed over from the teleportation formation. Is there something wrong? Yes, I want to ask you something. Night Sorrow nodded. No need to be so polite. What do you want to ask? Datura sat down and took off her veil. The Ice Dragon Realm. I want to know more about the Ice Dragon Realm, Night Sorrow said. It seems that you know about the Ice Dragon Realm. I knew about it a long time ago, but I didn't want to tell you because it's too risky. Monarchs can't enter, but there are all kinds of ice dragons in the Ice Dragon Realm. They might be sleeping, but what if they wake up? Once they wake up, your clone's life will be gone with a crack, Datura said to Night Sorrow. But this is also my chance. Currently, my original body is cultivating in the Samsara Palace. I've improved all my clones that can be improved. Going out to explore is also a form of experience. Even if I die, I have my original body and can continue to reproduce clones, Night Sorrow said. Since you want to go, I'll get you some information. You must know more so that you can avoid some risks. Wait here, Datura said. I'll go home first. I haven't seen my children in a long time. After you come, go to the house in the city in the sky and have dinner together, Night Sorrow said. Okay. Datura nodded. She put on her veil and left the lakeside house. Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow came back, and the whole family was very happy. Night Sorrow took his children and Papa Goo to the lake to fish. When the sun set, Datura came. Just as Datura was about to speak, Night Sorrow shook his head gently. He didn't want his family to worry about some things. He would go on his own. Datura didn't say anything. She could understand what Night Sorrow meant. After dinner, when they went out for a walk, Datura gave some information to Night Sorrow and a map. It's very dangerous, but if you want to go, I won't stop you. However, you have to be careful, Datura said. I will. When I'm not around, you have to pay more attention to the family, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry about that. There's no problem. Your master has taught Blackfiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island a lesson. They won't act rashly, Datura said. Lesson? I don't quite understand. Night Sorrow looked at Datura suspiciously. It seems that the Qing Emperor didn't tell you that someone was targeting you some time ago. The Blackfiend Valley even made a big fuss. The Qing Emperor sent his secret guards to the Blackfiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island to carry out some attacks. Many core members of the Blackfiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island were assassinated. The Qing Emperor also left a message. If anyone dares to act presumptuously in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, he won't tolerate it. The Blackfiend Valley and Heaven Seizing Island didn't respond because they knew very well what was going on. They were the ones who provoked the Qing Emperor's dynasty first, Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded. He really didn't expect that the Qing Emperor would do that. In addition, when the Ice Dragon Realm appeared, not only the people of the world of Samsara went back, but also the people of the Shenwu Great World and the Black-Yellow Great World. You are a nominal member of some forces. They will definitely attack you when they see you. Sometimes people are scarier than demonic beasts. You don't know who your enemy is, Datura said. I understand. I won't get close to others and stay far away from them. If anyone has bad intentions, I will kill them directly, Night Sorrow said. It's fine as long as you know it. The key areas are marked on the map. You have to be careful. There's still a month before people from the Dark Abyss go there. I'll make some arrangements then, Datura said. Night Sorrow understood that Datura was worried that he couldn't go there alone, so he had to make some arrangements. However, he didn't want to do that. Aluo, I still want to go there alone. It's more convenient this way. I feel a little awkward bringing someone with me. I also rejected the arrangement made by my master, Night Sorrow said. You have such a bad temper. I really want to kick you. But since you think so, I won't force you, Datura said helplessly. Don't kick me. I'm also a man. I was embarrassed last time. Night Sorrow was helpless at this time. I remember there's a saying that a man's virtue is to be afraid of his wife. Although we still need time, this saying makes sense, Datura said. The two sat on the wooden boat by the lake and chatted casually. Datura talked about the Ice Dragon realm and told Night Sorrow what he needed to pay attention to. The most terrifying thing in the Ice Dragon realm was to meet an ice dragon that wasn't in hibernation. The ice dragon was a superior dragon. Its body was full of treasures, but its strength was also very strong. The bones of the ice dragon were not that easy to get. Chapter 12:20. The bones of the Ice Dragon King are not easy to obtain. Ice Dragon were called kings because they were extremely powerful when they were alive. After they died, they would enter a special area to hide their bodies. Normally speaking, Ice Dragon were at the level of a Heaven Master. It was extremely difficult for them to die. However, there was a tribulation in the Ice Dragon world. Every period, there would be a tribulation. The tribulation of wind and fire was a test for the Ice Dragon. The tribulation of wind and fire was that it would take away the life force of living creatures. Ice Dragon was strong, but Ice Dragon was even stronger. They would not easily transform. Even if they did, it would be an illusion. Their bodies were huge and they had extremely strong life force. However, once a large part of their life force was taken away, even if they could survive the tribulation of wind and fire, the remaining life force would not be able to support their survival. So that's how it is. I've always been puzzled. Monarchs have unlimited lifespans, so why would they have the remains of the Ice Dragon King? Now I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. Rank 9. At the level of a Heaven Master, to enter rank 9, you have to go through the tribulation of wind and fire. There were people who took this step before, but they died in the tribulation of wind and fire. You should know how terrifying the tribulation of wind and fire is. You can say that it is a demonic tribulation. Datura said. Then you have to be careful. Night Sorrow looked at Datura and said. That's right. I know how to care for others. In fact, if I can take this step, I am willing to try the tribulation of wind and fire. However, it is too difficult to take this step because no one knows how a Heaven Master can take this step and enter rank 9. Perhaps someone has done it before, but who can say what the opportunity is? There are many Heaven Masters in the Supreme World, but no one has really taken that step. Even if there is, we don't know. Datura said. There are some things that no one can say for sure. You will only understand when it happens to you. Night Sorrow said. That's right. Cultivation is endless. As long as you want, your strength will increase. Although your cultivation and realm cannot increase, you can still study absolute arts. Datura nodded. Night Sorrow understood that absolute arts were the products of Heaven Masters when their cultivation and realm could not increase. That was still far away from him. Next, he had to go on a risky exploration. Night Sorrow did not return to the 9 Grand Building. He stayed in the city in the sky to accompany his parents. Datura did not leave. She and Night Sorrow, Xia Cheng and Jun Xuanji often came over and told Yi Shang some news. However, they kept it a secret from Yi Shang's family. This was Yi Shang's idea. Now that the matter in the Ice Dragon realm had caused an uproar, almost all the forces would participate. The Qing Emperor dynasty had a team, but Night Sorrow did not plan to go with anyone. He was used to being alone. The Dark Abyss also sent a team. Datura and Night Sorrow had talked about this. However, Night Sorrow did not want to go with anyone. If he went with a team, he would have to bear the responsibility. There were also some disadvantages. No one was familiar with him. Although he would be the core of the team because of the relationship between the Qing Emperor and Datura, he would not be able to cooperate perfectly if he was not familiar with them. This was not because Night Sorrow was selfish. There was an objective reason. Jun Xuanji also collected some information for Yi Shang. The more detailed the information, the more helpful it would be for Yi Shang. Another thing was poisons. Yi Shang asked Jun Xuanji to help him collect some poisons. When going out on an expedition, some things had to be prepared. Knowing Night Sorrow's needs, Datura took over this matter. It was much easier for Datura. Night Sorrow did not even need to refine the poisons. Datura directly refined the poisons and handed them to Night Sorrow. One was the 7 absolute poison that Night Sorrow was most used to using. The other was the more vicious soul-extinguishing poison. Poisons in the form of smoke were the easiest to use and the hardest to defend against. After handing the 2 poisons and the antidote to Night Sorrow, Datura was relieved. The 2 poisons were very powerful. The soul-extinguishing poison was extremely powerful. Even a monarch would fall if hit by it. Of course, if one used energy to protect their body, the poison might corrode one's energy, but it would not be fatal. I have to be careful too. I carry poisons, but others can, Night Sorrow said. But strange poisons are not that easy to obtain. The materials for the soul-extinguishing poison can only be found in the Dark Abyss. The 7 absolute grass is also extremely rare. It is not that easy to obtain. However, you also need to prepare a top-grade antidote. Antidotes that can deal with most poisons are not easy to obtain. I will help you think of a way, Datura said. Xuanji, help me collect materials for a type of flowing light grass. I am currently lacking flowing light grass to refine the colored glass pill, Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji. Look at the original chapter, Section 1, Colored Glass Golden Pill. A colored glass golden pill that is immune to all evil? That requires too many materials. Isn't that too high grade? Datura looked at Night Sorrow with a surprised expression. This is the benefit of taking orders for alchemy and refining equipment. I have accumulated a lot of materials, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Life essence. The most important thing is the life essence. I used to have some, but I don't have any now. It will not be easy to find them in the Dark Abyss, Datura said. Hee. Didn't I say that I only lack flowing light grass? I have the life essence, Night Sorrow nodded at Datura. Then Jun Xuanji went back to make arrangements. Now the influence of the 9-story tower was very big. It was very convenient to do some things in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, mainly because the officials were willing to cooperate. The ice dragon bone is actually not just a bone. It represents a treasure. As a giant, the ice dragon has a very rich collection. At present, we haven't obtained any ice dragon bone or treasure in the world of Samsara, but someone in the Black-Yellow Great World has obtained more than one. The Black-Yellow City's Great City Protecting Formation is based on the ice dragon bone, and the other ice dragon bone has been refined into a weapon, the ice dragon whip, Datura said to Night Sorrow. Let's talk about it later. It's still too early to think about it. Night Sorrow knew that things would not be so easy. I believe you. If you eat the meat, maybe I can drink the soup, Datura said as he patted Knight Soro's shoulder. What are you talking about? When did I eat the meat and let the people around me drink the soup? Knight Soro said to Datura with a smile. Then, the two of them chatted casually for a while. Mandela's advice to Yi Shang was that there was no need to get into unnecessary fights with others. If they couldn't handle it, they should just leave. Getting the treasure was the most important thing. In fact, Knight Soro understood that Datura was worried because even if the monarchs couldn't enter, there was still the advanced king. Knight Soro was currently at the peak of the junior king. There were several levels between them, so there was a big gap in strength. Even if he could fight with a higher level, it was not enough. In addition, Datura told Knight Soro that the Ice Dragon world had appeared for a long time, about 30 years. In other words, Knight Soro had 30 years to explore, which was incomparable to the time other small worlds appeared because the Ice Dragon world was a high-level world. The higher the level and the bigger the world, the slower the speed of movement. Chapter 12:21. 20 days later, Jun Xuanji did not disappoint Knight Soro and received the flowing light grass. The glazed golden pill was a top king-level pill. Knight Soro still had some difficulty refining it, but there was a possibility of failure. Looking at Knight Soro, who was deep in thought, Datura smiled. Usually, it's your turn to refine pills and accumulate more experience. But now, you can't afford to fail. This is related to your safety. Let me do it. Knight Soro smiled and nodded. He really couldn't fail now because there were 2 portions of the flowing light grass. There was no extra for him to squander. Datura's alchemy level was much higher than Knight Soro's because she had the support of her cultivation. Without any problems, Datura refined 2 cauldrons of glazed golden pills. Knight Soro also left 2 for Datura. After Knight Soro stayed in the city in the sky for a month, the Ice Dragon realm appeared at the edge of a high-level world. This world was located between the world of reincarnation, the Xianhuang world, and the Shenwu Great World. This time, Qing Emperor brought Knight Soro there. He also formed a team of Qing Emperor's guards. Datura and Red Emperor followed behind them. Red Emperor looked at Datura, his eyes full of anger. His son was killed by Knight Soro because of Datura. Zhan Taiyang also appeared with people behind him. In addition, there were also teams from the Black Fiend Valley. Everyone in the Ice Dragon realm wanted to try their luck. Zhan Taiyang looked at Datura with killing intent in his eyes. Because Datura interfered in the middle, his plan failed. Staring at me? If you still want to kill me, then you can go and die. Datura, who was originally looking at Red Emperor, noticed the murderous look in Zhan Taiyang's eyes. He was instantly enraged. His hollowed-out katana appeared and slashed at Zhan Taiyang. Zhan Taiyang drew his sword and fought with Datura. Then, the 2 of them moved and began to fight. None of the sky pillars were afraid of anyone. When there was a conflict, they might just fight to vent their anger. It was impossible for anyone to kill anyone. It was unrealistic. However, as the battle unfolded, the spectating Heaven Masters realized that something was amiss. Datura was very strong at this moment. He was crushing Zhan Taiyang head-on, and this was under the situation where Zhan Taiyang had yet to use his ultimate move. A piece of trash like you dares to stare at me? Today, I'll let you know that there are some people you can't provoke. Death Destruction / Datura scolded Zhan Taiyang. Then, a black light wave appeared on the black hollowed-out katana and swept towards Zhan Taiyang. Then, another slash appeared. This slash carried the profound principles of the heavenly Tao. This was the ultimate move, Death Destruction / Datura, how dare you? Heaven Seizing Shield. Zhan Taiyang's expression changed drastically. He immediately raised a golden shield. Your gaze is about to kill me. Why wouldn't I dare? Datura roared. His blade slashed on the golden heaven-seizing shield. With an explosive sound, golden and black light sputtered, and the shield was cut into 2 pieces. Slash again. Mandela caught up with Zhang Taiyang in a flash and followed up with another death obliteration slash. A black halo enveloped Zhang Taiyang. Datura's hollowed-out katana slashed again. Datura, stop. This isn't appropriate. Black Fiend Valley's Valley Master Li Tianba stood out. There was another old man as well. They were all overlords of the world of reincarnation. Naturally, they didn't want Datura to kill Zhang Taiyang. If Zhang Taiyang was killed by Datura, then the North District of the world of reincarnation would be annexed by the East District. This would affect the balance of the world of reincarnation. But at this moment, the Red Emperor and the Qing Emperor moved and blocked the path of the others. In the world of reincarnation, internal conflicts were common. But when there were other battles, they were united against external enemies. No matter how big the grudges were, this was why the Red Emperor could stand out now. Heaven-seizing escape technique. At this moment, Zhang Taiyang roared. His body started to blur and sway. Slash. Datura spat out another word. The black hollowed-out katana landed on Zhang Taiyang's blurry shadow. Datura, I, Zhang Taiyang, am irreconcilable with you. Zhang Taiyang roared. His figure dissipated. However, an arm floated down from the sky. It was the left arm with a storage ring. At this moment, this arm also flew out. Zhang Taiyang's soul imprint was on it. At this moment, it was also trying to escape. Irreconcilable? How many times can you use the heaven-seizing escape technique? The next time I see you, I will take your dog life. Datura stretched out his left hand and restrained Zhang Taiyang's arm. He then kept it and landed in front of the Dark Abyss's team. No one spoke. No one made a sound. It was too shocking. All the overlords knew that the balance was broken. In the past, the overlords were not afraid of anyone. But now, who would dare to provoke Datura? In the past, he was willful. Now that his strength had increased, he had the capital to be willful. Scram from the heaven-seizing island. Datura roared at the heaven-seizing island's team. She cupped her hands towards the Qing Emperor and the Red Emperor. She naturally knew that it was the Qing Emperor and the Red Emperor who stood out and blocked the others, giving her a chance to severely injure Zhang Taiyang. Q forever, free equals our novel. The Qing Emperor cupped his hands in return. The Red Emperor hesitated for a moment and also cupped his hands towards Datura. Although he was angry, he also knew that Datura had one face for the Eastern District of the world of reincarnation. In the future, the other 3 districts would not dare to talk nonsense with the Eastern District. Everyone, please don't blame him. Zhang Taiyang is too despicable. You all know what kind of person he is. Originally, it's not a big deal to have some small conflicts with him. However, he looked at me with killing intent today. Since he wants to kill me, I naturally can't let him do as he pleases. Mandela cupped her hands towards Li Tianba and the other Sky Masters. She had the capital to be strong, but she could not make enemies everywhere. Because it was meaningless. Anyway, since the matter was settled, she would give some face to others and they would not be hostile. Li Tianba and the others also cupped their hands in return. Which one of the overlords was not a sly old fox? Now that Datura had given everyone a way out, who would not accept it and make Datura unhappy? Datura currently had the strength to kill people of the same level. The matter was over, but Zhang Taiyang had suffered a great loss. Then, everyone waited for the arrival of the Ice Dragon world. Currently, there was still some time. The Ice Dragon world was not close to this world yet. Only when it was close could they enter. There were many teams. Everyone was competing with strength and opportunities. Knight Sorrow was wearing a mask and following behind the Qing Emperor's guards. He was the target of many people's attention, so he was more careful. The Azure Emperor had made arrangements, and the Azure Emperor's guards were all wearing masks. That was to say, those who weren't particularly observant wouldn't be able to discover Night Sorrow. At the very least, the leaders of the other factions wouldn't be able to discover Night Sorrow and issue orders. What would happen inside was another matter altogether. Time passed slowly. Night Sorrow was very calm. The main reason was that he had experienced many things. In addition, he was very happy because the soul cultivation liquid was very helpful to Datura. In the world of reincarnation, no one would openly make things difficult for her. Chapter 12:22. So much good to look at. In the past 2 days, the spatial barrier of this high-level world had been violently shaken. This was caused by the collision between the two worlds. Night Sorrow knew that it was time to leave. Qing Emperor waved his hand, and the Qing Emperor's guards set off. When they passed by Qing Emperor, Night Sorrow nodded slightly, then looked at Datura. At this moment, Datura was looking at Night Sorrow. Although she was in the crowd, she knew Night Sorrow's aura. If she could not recognize her fiancé because of a mask, then she did not deserve to be the Dark Dominator. Datura nodded at Night Sorrow. She was a little worried, but she knew that this was the path that Night Sorrow had chosen. If there was anything else, the two could continue. Datura had exchanged for the concentric crystal, which could allow long-distance communication. This kind of concentric crystal was very rare. It was a king-level material, and ordinary people could not get it. The concentric crystal had a distance limit. It could be ordinary in a world, but it could be advanced if it could cross worlds. Ice Dragon World was a high-level world, and there were special rules that would infinitely weaken the power of these auxiliary treasures. Therefore, Datura had obtained a top-grade concentric crystal. To be able to obtain such a top-grade concentric crystal, it was also Datura's ability. The temporary captain of the Qing Emperor's guards tore open space and brought everyone into the spatial turbulence. Because the normal leader of the Qing Emperor's guards was a sovereign, the sovereign could not enter, so the temporary captain was a high-level king. Night Sorrow followed the Qing Emperor's guards and flew in the spatial turbulence. The spatial turbulence was very stressful, but everyone was a high-level king, so their protective energy was not a problem. Night Sorrow had the power of desolates to protect his body, so naturally, he could withstand it. So much good to look at. After 15 minutes, the captain of the Qing Emperor's guards tore open a spatial barrier. This is the Ice Dragon Realm. The current crisis is the struggle between us and the other forces, so we should leave this area as soon as possible. Guard Captain Qing Emperor did not let everyone stay. After entering the Ice Dragon Realm, they quickly flew, because after some teams entered, there might be some fights. After flying for thousands of miles, the group finally landed. Everyone, let's part ways here. When we return, let's meet again at the 9 grand floors. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the group. Your Highness, you can actually come with us. We're here to serve Dynasty and Your Highness, the captain of the Qing Emperor's guard said to Night Sorrow. Thank you for your kind intentions. My cultivation base is low. If there's a battle, all of you will have to protect me. That will increase the pressure and cause unnecessary losses. I, Night Sorrow, am not the kind of person who would step on the shoulders of his brothers. Everyone, be careful. If you can't do it, just go back. Master won't blame you. Night Sorrow said. Take care, Your Highness. All of the Qing Emperor's guards cupped their hands towards Night Sorrow. After returning the greeting, Night Sorrow left in a flash, not wanting to go with the others. Night Sorrow was not afraid that others would steal his opportunity, but it was really not suitable. First, it was because his cultivation base was low. Second, it was because some of his techniques could not be exposed in front of others. #MVX After separating, they found a hidden place. Night Sorrow inserted a soul crystal into the ground and then set up a formation. He set up an illusion formation and a teleportation formation in the center of the formation. Then, He set up a teleportation formation and embedded a teleportation crystal and another teleportation crystal. This was his secret and escape route. With the teleportation formation, it would not be a problem for him to return at any time. Even if the teleportation formation was destroyed, he would still be able to determine the location by hiding the soul crystal. After setting up his secret plan, Night Sorrow took out a map. He did not know if others had a map, but if he had one in his hand, it would be an opportunity. However, if he wanted to understand the map, he first needed to know the location. Currently, Night Sorrow did not know where he was. Therefore, he had to continue flying and look for a conspicuous terrain with markings on the map. This way, he would be able to use the map accurately. After flying for half a day, Night Sorrow felt a little cold. The Ice Dragon world was the breeding ground of the Ice Dragon race. The water was of the ice attribute, and it was an extremely cold place. Night Sorrow shook his body and increased the circulation of his blood and chi. His body was of the Two-Star King realm. Naturally, he could withstand this cold air. While flying, Night Sorrow carefully probed. Firstly, he did not want to meet other teams. Secondly, he did not want to be discovered by the demonic beasts in the Ice Dragon world. The Ice Dragon world was a high-level world. It was not inferior to the Sky Profound world, Sky Dome world, or any other world. The Ice Dragons were the rulers of this world. However, it was normal for other demonic beasts to run amok in other remote areas. At this moment, he felt his sleeves vibrating. Night Sorrow took out the concentric crystal. Fortunately, I was afraid that it would malfunction. How is the situation now? Datura appeared in the concentric crystal. Nothing much. I split up with the Azure the Archguard and avoided the other teams. Right now, I'm trying to find my way forward. I'm trying to figure out where we are, Night Sorrow said after taking off his mask. Have you made the arrangements? Have you made the location of the entrance? Datura was a little worried. I hid the soul crystal and also set up a teleportation formation. When I want to return, I will set up a teleportation formation and connect it with the other. Then, I will be able to teleport back. Night Sorrow said. One is not enough. What if it is destroyed? Let's change the location and set up another one. Datura reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Datura's idea was right. It was relatively safer. Originally, Night Sorrow did not have many teleportation stones. However, Datura did not lack resources. Among the resources given to Night Sorrow, there were some teleportation stones. After breaking the concentric crystal, Night Sorrow set up another teleportation formation before continuing forward. The Ice Dragon world was very big. If he wanted to explore the entire world, not to mention 30 years, even 300 years would not be enough. Take the Sky Profound world for example. There were some places that required several teleportation formations. The area was too big. Now, Night Sorrow needed to confirm his location on the map. Then, he would move stealthily toward the core area marked on the map. Although there were dangers at every step, with a direction and goal, he was closer to success. Night Sorrow was looking forward to the Ice Dragon Bone. It was a supreme treasure that could set up the Ice Dragon Sealing Array. The Ice Dragon Sealing Array could guard the core cities of the 9-domain world. According to the thinking of ordinary people, the most important city of the 9-domain world was Seven Night City. However, Night Sorrow did not think so. He knew that the 9-domain world would become a supreme world in the future. It would be on the same level as the Reincarnation Great World, the Black-Yellow Great World, and the Shinwu Great World. At that time, the core of the world would be Clear Sky City. Now, the 9-domain world was expanding. Others might not be able to feel it, but as the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow knew that the 9-domain world was developing rapidly. Its territory was expanding. The island where the Heavens Sealing Great Hall was located, which was the area of Clear Sky City, was also expanding. The land area was also expanding. After the rise of the 9-domain world, the defense of Clear Sky City was more crucial. It was the most important place in the 9-domain world. Chapter 12:23. As for whether he could obtain the remains of the ice dragon, only God knew. High-level ice dragons would enter the ancestral land of the ice dragons before they fell. If there were scattered ice dragon skeletons outside, it was because their lives had come to an end before they reached the ancestral land. As long as he could find the skeletons of the ice dragon, even if they were not the ice dragons, it would be a great harvest. After all, there would be some treasures left in the place where the ice dragon fell. Knight Sorrow moved forward every day, observing the terrain as he moved forward. The only bad thing was that there were no elixirs or resources to collect in this world of ice and snow. There were a few ores, but they were relatively rare. Fortunately, Knight Sorrow was not as desperate for resources as before. He had a lot of merits in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. He could exchange for any resources in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Besides, his fiancée, Datura, supported him greatly. She gave him a pile of Holy Spirit stones and some miscellaneous resources, which were enough for him to use. Knight Sorrow did not like to kill for no reason. Every time he rested, he would boil water and make tea. However, there were still some ignorant demonic beasts that came looking for trouble. Knight Sorrow did not hold back. He barbecued meat and wine, which was much better than drinking tea. Datura sometimes asked Knight Sorrow about the situation. She could not do anything about the current situation. She was in the dark. Datura reminded Knight Sorrow to be careful because it was not only the people from the reincarnation world that entered the ice dragon realm. People from the Xianhuang world and the Shenwu Great World had also entered. It was just that the entrances were different. Cultivators were in a competitive relationship. When they saw people who did not belong to them, they would kill them. It was normal to rob them of their resources. Ah Luo, you have seriously injured Zhang Taiyang. You have to be careful. The fact that he can cultivate the art of seizing the heavens means that he has evil intentions. Don't try to scheme against you. Knight Sorrow said. He was not worried about his strength. He was worried that Datura was not as good as Zhang Taiyang in terms of scheming. I will be careful. This time, I have seriously injured him, robbed his ring, and sealed one of his arms. He was afraid that I would use a secret technique to attack him from his original arm, so he scattered his arm. However, his blood essence and soul imprint are still suppressed in me. If he dares to provoke me, he knows the consequences, Datura said with a smile. At this time, on seizing the Heavens Island, Zhang Taiyang's face was ugly. This time, he had been badly injured by Datura. After using the art of seizing the heavens, he had lost his left arm and storage ring. Inside the storage ring was Zhang Taiyang's lifetime collection. The value of this collection was shocking. Not to mention, a part of his original body was sealed by Datura. This was the most terrifying thing. In other words, if Datura was really angry and used some secret technique, his original body would not be able to withstand it. Of course, the price of using such a secret technique to attack the original body through space might be high, but it could still destroy him. No matter how angry he was, Zhang Taiyang did not dare to provoke Datura again. This was because Datura could kill him even without using a secret technique. This was the most terrifying thing. After thinking about it, Zhang Taiyang called Jiang Wuyu, go to the dark abyss and negotiate with the dark ruler Datura. This lord will not provoke him in the future. This lord wants to redeem the essence chi, essence blood, and soul imprint of that arm. Ask him what price he wants. Yes, this subordinate will do it immediately. Jiang Wuyu nodded. He already knew the whole story, because the people sent by seizing the Heavens Island to the Ice Dragon realm had been driven back. This group did not go again. Although it was impossible for Datura to be there watching, in fact, if seizing the Heavens Island sent people again, it was not giving face to Datura. If it was before, Zhang Taiyang would not care about giving face to anyone. But now, he had no choice but to give face to Datura. In the bone hall of the dark abyss, Datura received Jiang Wuyu. Jiang Wuyu explained the purpose of his visit, and also said that Zhang Taiyang expressed that he would not be enemies with the dark abyss in the future. If he is sincere, then this lord has nothing to say. Resources, if he sends enough resources, that sealed arm can be returned to him. But this lord must be satisfied. Datura, who was sitting on the bone throne, looked at Jiang Wuyu and said, Lord Ruler, if you have any requests, you can raise them. Jiang Wuyu will go back and report. Jiang Wuyu bowed and said, I don't have any requests. Let Zhang Taiyang do as he sees fit. This lord does not care about his arm, but if this lord is not satisfied, the situation will not be very good. This lord will not use any secret technique. I will only throw his arm into the dark abyss to feed the evil spirits. Bring these words back. He will understand that sincerity is very important. Datura waved his hand and began to drive people away. Jiang Wuyu bowed. He was very helpless. Datura's words were the most deceptive. Sincerity? If it was less, it was not sincere. If it was more, how much was more? This was a big hole that was very difficult to fill. But Zhang Taiyang still had to jump into this hole. If he did not jump, then Zhang Taiyang would really be unlucky. It was very difficult to use a clone to attack the main body, but Zhang Taiyang had thrown away the main body's arm. If the main body's arm was fed to the evil spirits by Datura, then Zhang Taiyang would be haunted by the evil spirits in the future. His soul would not be at peace. This was something Zhang Taiyang could not accept even if he was beaten to death. After hearing Jiang Wuyu's report, Zhang Taiyang slapped the table in front of him and shattered it. He was not afraid of Datura asking for a price. He was afraid that this lion would open its mouth and ask for an exorbitant price. He still had to accept it. Positive F version of. However, Zhang Taiyang still let out a sigh of relief. At least Datura still wanted to talk to him. If he did not talk to him, then his fate would be in the hands of Datura. Datura could deal with him at any time. After thinking for a while, Zhang Taiyang asked Jiang Wuyu to prepare the resources in the seizing heaven manner. In addition, he also asked the forces under him to provide a large amount of resources as tribute. This time, he had to pay a price even if he did not want to. However, to him, nothing was more important than his own life. 2 days later, Jiang Wuyu took a few storage rings and a list of items and set off towards the dark abyss. Zhang Taiyang did not dare to go alone. Datura had the ability to kill him. If Datura turned hostile, then he would die. Sitting on the white bone throne, Datura looked at the list and shook his head. There are many resources, but it's not enough sincerity. There are only 1 million Saint Spirit stones. I give people hundreds of thousands each time. Go back and tell Zhang Taiyang to add a little more. His life is too worthless. Add another 500,000, and I will consider. Datura threw the list back to Jiang Wuyu. The corner of Jiang Wuyu's mouth twitched. He knew what was written on the list. There were 1 million Saint Spirit stones on the list, but there were many other rare resources. Added together, they were worth at least 3 million Saint Spirit stones. Even so, Datura was not satisfied. Tell Zhang Taiyang that he can earn more resources. He controls the northern region of the world of reincarnation. There will be no shortage of resources in the future. His life is the most important. Datura said. Jiang Wuyu bowed and left. He still had to go back and discuss with Zhang Taiyang to continue transferring resources. There were only 1 million Saint Spirit stones in the seizing heaven manor's storage. After listening to Jiang Wuyu's report, Zhang Taiyang sighed. Although he knew that the resources he had taken out were sky-high prices, he knew that it was not enough. Even if it was enough, Datura would increase the price. However, Zhang Taiyang had to accept it. When he took out the list for the first time, he did not dare to take less. Datura was the Dark Dominator. If the resources on the list were less, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 12:24. At the level of a Heaven Master, who would lack resources? If Jean Taiyang's list was too small, Datura might not even talk about it. Therefore, even if it cost him money, Jean Taiyang had to accept it. Heaven-seizing Manor really didn't have 500,000 Saint Spirit stones right now. Jean Taiyang could only order all the forces under his command to gather them. 2 days later, Jean Taiyang had gathered 500,000 Saint Spirit stones. Only then did he arrange for Jiang Wuyu to go to the Dark Abyss. After checking the resources, Datura was quite satisfied. He took out an obsidian box and threw it to Jiang Wuyu. This obsidian box is for Jean Taiyang. Tell him to behave in the future. You can leave now. I have nothing to do, so I want to take a look at the resources. I don't know what to do with so many resources, said Datura as he weighed the storage rings in his hand. Jiang Wuyu's heart was bleeding. The resources that Heaven-seizing Island had accumulated over the years were all taken away by Datura in an instant. Furthermore, Heaven-seizing Island couldn't do anything about it. After Jiang Wuyu left, Datura snorted coldly. Hegemen, Heaven-seizing Island has suffered a great loss this time. They will behave for a while, said Rowan with a smile. Jean Taiyang won't dare to mess around with us now. If he does, we'll deal with him. Datura was very happy. Then, Datura looked at Bloodthirsty and Demon Blood. The two of you are not allowed to be enemies with Night Sorrow in the future. It's all because of him that my cultivation improved so much. If anyone is an enemy, I won't be lenient. I will treat them as my enemy. Bloodthirsty and Demon Blood bowed and nodded. They didn't know what was going on, but one thing was clear. Datura was very protective of Night Sorrow. From the fact that Datura even sent the blood-robed guards to guard Night Sorrow's hometown, it was obvious. Demon Blood, your subordinates have suffered great losses, but that's war. In the future, he won't do anything to the Dark Abyss. Datura emphasized Demon Blood's name. After that, Datura's body flashed and left the Bone Palace. Demon Blood, let me remind you that this is not a joke. If you continue to be enemies with Night Sorrow, the Hegemen will kill you, said Rowan. Looked at Demon Blood, who was somewhat confused. Demon Blood nodded. Although I don't know why, since the Hegemen has given the order, I will do as you say. In the Dark Abyss, Datura was the absolute authority. She didn't need any reason to give her orders. Everyone had to obey. The Dark Abyss reputation was built by Datura. As long as Datura was here, the Dark Abyss would be where it was today. Every day, Night Sorrow had to travel in the cold wind. He had to use energy to protect the water he drank. Otherwise, the cup would freeze and shatter. A world of ice and snow. This was the world of ice and snow beasts, the territory of ice dragons. Night Sorrow advanced day and night mainly because he had to look at the terrain and distinguish his own coordinates. Many times, Datura would chat with him and show him how many resources he had cheated from Jean Taiyang. Luo, do you know that in the 9 domains world, Holy Spirit stones were once in the single digits? You guys can give us hundreds of thousands or even millions with a wave of your hand. I can't describe how I feel. Night Sorrow held the concentric crystal in one hand and the wine jar in the other. Of course, the wine jar was protected by energy. Otherwise, the wine would have turned into ice. The 9 domains world is still a low-level world. There are still high-level worlds that don't produce Holy Spirit stones. But do you know how many subsidiary worlds and high-level worlds there are around the reincarnation world? It's normal to plunder Holy Spirit stones, so the reincarnation world naturally has a lot of Holy Spirit stones. When you come back, I'll give you more. Datura's face was full of smiles. Luo, you look good when you smile, but you're scary when you're angry, said Night Sorrow. Didn't I just scold you once? Ever since we made an agreement, when have I scolded you? I know how to be a woman. I know how to get along with you, although I'm not used to it. Datura looked at Night Sorrow and said. Aluo, thank you for everything you've done for me. I'll remember it. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that Datura must have made a lot of changes and adaptations. It's good that you remember. Let's not talk about such a heavy topic. When you come back, we'll sit on the ground and split the spoils. That Zhan Taiyang brought a lot of treasures this time. He's really scared. Datura changed the topic. Sure. When I go back, I'll see if there are any good treasures. Don't feel bad when I take them, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Genuine? Song Fu, when you reach the monarch realm, what's mine will be yours. But at the same time, what's yours will be mine. You'll have to hand over everything. Datura's face was full of smiles. Okay, no problem. I'm in a hurry. Let's talk later. Night Sorrow nodded. Then, Night Sorrow continued on his journey. After breaking the concentric crystal, Datura fell into deep thought. When she saw Night Sorrow, Datura opened it. That meant that her marriage was coming. She was a little hesitant at first, but after getting along with him, she felt that it was a good thing. Night Sorrow's personality was very charming, and she felt that she was willing to get close to him. Datura knew that this was fate. Everything was decided by the heavens. She had been alone for countless years. Now that she had this feeling, she was looking forward to what kind of future Night Sorrow would have. She was very clear about the dominance of the supreme attributes. Night Sorrow's Will of the Void attribute had already reached the peak of 30%. His path was smooth. All he needed was time. After thinking for a while, Datura stretched her waist. Her body shook and there were two people. The clone stayed in the dark abyss while the original body left through the teleportation portal. She missed Lord Yu and Qin Yen. She wanted to accompany the two kids. She really liked the two kids. Night Sorrow continued to move forward every day. One day, Night Sorrow came to the foot of a mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was a glacier river flowing. Seeing the terrain, Night Sorrow was stunned. He took out a map and looked around. Soon, he found it. There was a mark on the map, Mysterious Ice River. Seeing this mark, Night Sorrow quickly retreated. There were demonic beasts in the Mysterious Ice River. There was a record in a book. Although the demonic beasts here were not ice dragons, they were still extremely powerful. They were called Mysterious Jade Beasts. Mysterious Jade Beasts could cultivate to the level of king. They could even grow to the level of monarchs and sky masters. After entering this place, Night Sorrow felt that he should retreat first and slowly study it. There were opportunities in the Mysterious Ice River. There was some purple sand, which was the material that North Star had given to Night Sorrow. After retreating for a while, Night Sorrow found a secret place and took out a map to look carefully. The Mysterious Ice River was the outer region of the Ice Dragon world. However, one could reach the core region of the Ice Dragon world by following the river. The Glacier River flowed from the Ice Dragon abyss in the core region of the Ice Dragon world. Putting away the map, Night Sorrow thought about whether he should continue or not. There might be mysterious jade beasts in the Mysterious Ice River, but there would definitely be purple sand. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and drank 2 mouthfuls. Chapter 12:25. It's so good to see. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he could go take a look. He brought the 8-dragon cauldron and could control it to enter the Glacier River to find the purple time gravel. If he could find it, he would have profited. After making his decision, Night Sorrow entered the 8-dragon cauldron and controlled it to fly forward in the snow. The 8-dragon cauldron was a king artifact. Night Sorrow had changed the main material of the cauldron to a high-grade one and also improved the array. When the 8-dragon cauldron was upgraded, Night Sorrow felt that it was much more difficult than refining a king artifact. The main reason was that the 8-dragon cauldron had an artifact spirit. Night Sorrow could not harm the artifact spirit, so it was more difficult. The result of the difficulty was that the 8-dragon cauldron was much more powerful than ordinary king artifacts. This was because even a king artifact spirit was extremely difficult to nurture. The 8-dragon cauldron had an artifact spirit because the Medicine Valley had nurtured it for many years. The 8-dragon cauldron had absorbed the faith power of the Medicine Valley's disciples. Night Sorrow controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to fly in the snow. He approached the profound ice river and then entered it. Night Sorrow then controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to slowly dive. The purple time gravel could only be found at the bottom of the profound ice river. It was washed down by the profound ice river and settled to the bottom of the river. This was also why the purple time gravel could only be found here. The purple time gravel was very heavy. It was washed down by the profound ice river and would settle to the bottom of the river. Translator, Zephizi editor, Dioquin. After diving to the bottom of the river, Night Sorrow began to search for the purple time gravel. At the same time, he used his soul power to scan the surroundings. He did not want to see a profound jade beast suddenly appear. The profound jade beast was a talented tiger. Because of the conflict between the dragon and the tiger, the profound jade beast was not a match for the ice dragon and was expelled from the core of the ice dragon domain. Although they were not as strong as the ice dragon, their combat power was undeniable. After searching for 2 hours, they crossed the wide Black Ice River. Night Sorrow arrived at the bottom of the river near the Black Ice River. At this time, Night Sorrow found something. He saw the purple sand of time, which was an area with a whirlpool. A small pile of time purple sand was there, but it would be difficult for Night Sorrow to get it. Outside the whirlpool, there was a profound jade beast with a body like a pavilion. The Xian jade beast had the head of a tiger, the tail of a lion, and the body of a legendary Qilin. Its body was covered with white jade-like scales. A 5-star king-level Xian jade beast. Night Sorrow discovered that this was a 5-star king's profound jade beast. 5-star king's Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. He could fight. Back when he hadn't mastered the will of nothingness, he had fought against the 5-star king Wujia. But this was the profound ice great river. Once the battle started, who knew if there would be other profound jade beasts coming out? If a group of profound jade beasts came out, it would be fun. Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to run even if he wanted to. Night Sorrow controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to slowly approach the whirlpool where the time purple sand was. After approaching the whirlpool, the 8-dragon cauldron blended into the time purple sand and waited for an opportunity. Night Sorrow was close to the time purple sand, but it was difficult to collect it. This was because once he did, there would be energy fluctuations, and it would be easy to discover. Wait. Opportunities were waiting. Night Sorrow had to wait. Half a day passed. When the profound jade beast flipped over, Night Sorrow's soul power erupted and directly sucked a pile of time purple sand into the 8-dragon cauldron. Then, he controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to slip away with the current and mix with the sand. It floated a distance away before smashing into the bottom of the river. The profound jade beast flipped over and continued to lie down without moving. Steady. Success. The time purple sand was in his hands. Night Sorrow circled around and continued to control the 8-dragon cauldron to fly against the current. This was because he wanted to follow the profound ice river to the interior of the ice dragon realm. Moreover, there was time purple sand in this area. He wouldn't be able to get anything if he followed the shore. The profound ice river was very large. Night Sorrow slowly moved in the current. After collecting 2 piles of time purple sand, he saw many profound jade beasts. However, Night Sorrow didn't alarm these fierce beasts. Countless years had passed, and there were no outsiders. This caused the profound jade beasts to lose their vigilance. The main reason was that Night Sorrow didn't have any hostility or killing intent. He didn't arouse their vigilance. When he was about to leave the profound jade river, Night Sorrow saw a skeleton. The skeleton was the size of a small hill. It was a profound jade beast. This skeleton was at a bend in the profound ice river. The mountain-like body was squatting there. It didn't have any aura of life. In other aspects, it was exactly the same as when it was alive. Its eyes carried an aura of disdain for everything. The white scales on its body emitted a cold luster. Collect. This was a treasure. Knight Sorrow knew that if a profound jade beast wasn't a monarch or a high-level king, it wouldn't have such an aura. The aura of the 5-star king profound jade beast he encountered was far inferior to this one. It couldn't be compared at all. It would be difficult to collect this big guy. The 8-dragon cauldron was very large. It wouldn't be a problem to collect a few of these skeletons. However, when collecting them, it would cause a big commotion. If there were any profound jade beasts nearby, they would be discovered. The more critical the moment was, the calmer and more cautious Knight Sorrow was. He didn't rush to the skeleton. Instead, he patrolled the river. Knight Sorrow patrolled the area within a 200-mile radius. He found only one profound ice beast. It was a 3-star king profound jade beast. Knight Sorrow waited for this eyesore to leave. However, a few days passed, and the eyesore didn't move. Knight Sorrow continued to wait. However, a few more days passed, and the eyesore didn't move. This made Knight Sorrow irritated. He needed the skeleton of the profound ice beast, but he couldn't take it away now. Kill. Knight Sorrow decided to kill this eyesore. Knight Sorrow had a plan. A 3-star king profound ice beast. Knight Sorrow could kill it in one hit. Knight Sorrow believed in the power of the great emperor reincarnation / After controlling the 8-dragon cauldron to approach this eyesore, Knight Sorrow discovered that this eyesore was very beautiful. The scales on its body emitted a jade-like luster, the hair on its neck was very smooth from the water, and the single horn on its head was crystal clear. After approaching this eyesore, Yishan took out Splitter and informed the artifact spirit of the 8-dragon cauldron to control the energy fluctuations so that they wouldn't spread out too strongly. Knight Sorrow was ready. When the profound ice beast turned around, Knight Sorrow made his move. He rushed out of the 8-dragon cauldron and attacked with the space splitter. Knight Sorrow used his ultimate move, the Great Emperor Reincarnation / After the purple halo covered the profound ice beast, Knight Sorrow's space splitter pierced towards the profound ice beast's head. At this time, the profound ice beast moved. Its head turned in the purple halo and looked at Knight Sorrow. Its big eyes were full of confusion. It didn't struggle or roar. When the space splitter arrived in front of the profound ice beast's head, Knight Sorrow couldn't do it. It was because of the profound ice beast's eyes. One man and one beast stared at each other. Knight Sorrow was puzzled. He had seen a lot of profound ice beasts. Those profound ice beasts' eyes were full of madness and killing intent. However, this one wasn't. Its eyes were very clear. Knight Sorrow couldn't bear to do it. I won't hurt you. Don't get in my way. Leave this area and don't shout. Knight Sorrow used his soul power to convey his message to the profound ice beast. Chapter 12:26. Br. The Xian ice beast nodded, not really understanding. It lacked intelligence and survival experience. Yishang felt that this profound ice beast was very different from other profound ice beasts. This profound ice beast's intelligence aside, it was as pure as a piece of white paper. Seeing that this Xian ice beast didn't want to mess around with him, Knight Sorrow turned and left. He didn't even enter the 8-dragon cauldron. He directly rushed towards the skeleton of the Xian ice beast. Knight Sorrow was looking forward to it. He felt that it was very likely to be the skeleton of the Xian ice beast king. If it was, then it would be a huge gain. When he arrived at the skeleton, Knight Sorrow's soul power erupted and moved the Xian ice beast into the 8-dragon cauldron. Just as Knight Sorrow was about to leave, he found that the Xian ice beast that had been bothering him had followed him. Why are you still following me? I won't hurt you, so don't bother me. Knight Sorrow once again used his soul power to transmit his message. The Xian ice beast looked at Night Sorrow and shook its head. Instead, it responded in a very friendly manner and nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow felt that there really was a problem. He felt that this Xian ice beast was different from other Xian ice beasts. Normally speaking, the powerful Xian ice beast skeleton's might was very strong. Ordinary Xian ice beasts wouldn't come close. But this Xian ice beast was living here, and its intelligence was like a piece of white paper. It had the strength of a 3-star king, but when he was about to attack, it didn't know how to fight back. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that he could bring it along. After Tianyu transformed, he really lacked a mount. Tianyu was his brother, so he couldn't ride him anymore. This Xian ice beast hadn't transformed, and it lived alone. Bringing it along might be a good choice. Then Night Sorrow asked the Xian ice beast if it was willing to follow him. Just as Night Sorrow thought, the Xian ice beast really nodded. Night Sorrow felt that it was a good idea. In the future, he would spend some time educating and teaching it about the world and how to fight. This time it was easy. Night Sorrow controlled the 8-dragon cauldron to enter the profound jade beast's neck hair. After the profound ice beast carried it, they walked in the ice river below the profound ice river. The profound ice beast naturally had no enmity towards the profound ice beast, so the energy fluctuations were nothing. Night Sorrow could easily collect the time purple sand. Night Sorrow felt that his luck was pretty good. Not only did he get a mount, but he also got a lot of time purple sand. The time purple sand could be used to refine weapons and defensive equipment with time formations. Even cultivators who were not of the time attribute could use it, and it was extremely powerful. Because the time purple sand itself had the time attribute, when Night Sorrow's artifact refining and array formations improved, he would be able to refine this kind of top-quality king artifact. After plundering enough, Night Sorrow let the profound ice beast get on the profound ice river and walk along the river towards the ice dragon realm. The profound ice beast was extremely fast. It was a spirit beast with extraordinary talent. Normally, it should be called the profound ice Qilin beast, but Night Sorrow's notes simply called it the profound ice beast. Night Sorrow named this Mount Ice Qilin. Night Sorrow instilled some battle concepts into it. A tyrannical mount that didn't know how to fight was useless. With a body bigger than a tent, the ice Qilin flew very steadily. Even if it was running on the ground, it was still extremely fast. Once again, when Night Sorrow was resting in the camp, Datura and Night Sorrow arrived. Through the concentric crystal, Datura saw the ice Qilin lying on the side. That's the profound ice Qilin tiger? Yes, it's currently my mount. Night Sorrow nodded and explained the situation. How is that possible? What's going on? Why don't I understand? Datura was very puzzled. How could a king-level demon beast follow someone else as a mount? Not bad. It's fast and ferocious. I don't participate in army battles now. If I participate in army battles and ride the ice Qilin, how domineering and awe-inspiring would that be? Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was also in an extremely good mood. You can indeed do it. It's very difficult to tame a demon beast with extraordinary talent. It's even more impossible to tame one after entering the king level. With this mount, you'll have a great advantage in the periphery of the ice dragon realm. Some demon beasts won't attack it, but once you reach the center of the ice dragon realm, let alone the core, you'll have to put it away. In a fierce battle, the ice dragon will be especially sensitive to it. Datura reminded Night Sorrow. Ah Luo, I also obtained the skeleton of a profound ice beast. It's very shocking, but I don't know what level it is. Night Sorrow said. Datura treated it sincerely, so he wouldn't hide anything from Datura. Take it out and let me see. Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded and walked out of the tent. He took the mountain-like skeleton of the profound ice beast out of the 8-dragon cauldron. The profound ice beast king is the profound ice Qilin tiger king. It's a giant that surpassed the monarch level. It's perfectly preserved. It's perfectly preserved, and its value is comparable to the ice dragon's skeleton. Night Sorrow, come back. This is enough. Datura said. How can you be sure that it's the profound ice Chilan Tiger King? Night Sorrow asked. Although I didn't get close to it and couldn't feel its aura, its eyes were ice eyes. This means that it had perfected the will of water when it was alive. This skeleton is complete. It's a monarch-level array master. If its godly pearl is used as the core, it can set up a powerful array. Datura explained to Night Sorrow. The reason why the ice dragon skeleton was so valuable and was called a treasure was because the skeleton was complete. The energy in the body was still there, but it had lost its consciousness. The empty soul pearl could recognize a master. If the ice dragon skeleton was used as the core to set up an array, the array would be so powerful that even a giant couldn't break it. When the master of the array recognized the godly pearl and the skeleton as its master, he could control the array. The ice dragon skeleton became a puppet that could control the array. What kind of power was that? The profound ice Chilan Tiger King now had such an effect. It was no different from the ice dragon skeleton. If I didn't have the ability to protect the profound ice Chilan Tiger King skeleton, I would go back now. Now that I have the ability to protect the treasures in my hands, even if I die, the 9-region origin pearl can take everything I have and leave. Night Sorrow didn't plan to go back. Now that he had gained something, it was different from what he had expected. He hadn't reached the center of the ice dragon realm yet. Night Sorrow wanted the ice dragon's blood essence. His original body still had a lot of room for improvement. The materials to improve his body's strength were especially important. You rascal, once you've made up your mind, you can't be persuaded. Now that you've reaped a great harvest, you should be more cautious. Don't hold the mentality of fighting to the death. We can live very well now, said Mandela. I know. I'm not here to die. I'll be careful. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. The 9-region world is very stable now. When your array skills reach a certain level, you can set up an array with the profound ice Chilan Tiger King skeleton in 7 Night City. 7 Night City will be indestructible. Datura said. VD9, version plus. Chapter J. Section Z. Chapter 1227. My array formation skills have improved, but it's still not enough. We'll talk about it later. Otherwise, I'll have to ask my master for help. I don't want to trouble my master, Night Sorrow said. Yes, 7 Night City is stable now. You don't have to worry. The Bloodstrike guards are watching the teleportation array. If anyone tries to cause trouble, they'll be killed. Datura nodded. She understood Night Sorrow's character from his information. He wasn't willing to ask for help. Luo, 7 Night City is actually secondary. What I really care about is Clear Sky City. You know that I have the supreme attribute. The core of the world I refined is the supreme origin. The 9-domain world will become a supreme world in the future, Night Sorrow said. You're saying that not only do you have the supreme attribute, but the 9-domain world's origin you control is also the void origin? Datura was shocked. She knew that Night Sorrow had the void attribute and that Night Sorrow was a realm lord. However, she didn't expect the 9-domain world's origin to be the supreme origin. Yes, the origin of the 9-domain world wasn't the supreme origin. It's like this. Night Sorrow explained how he refined the origin of the void space and used it to repair the 9-domain world. He also explained how the origin of the 2 worlds merged. So that's how it is. Your idea is correct. Clear Sky City, where the origin of the 9-domain world manifests, needs to be protected. There's a great array guarding it. 7 Night City can only be considered a gateway, not the core. Datura still couldn't calm down. Currently, in the Great Thousand World, experts were as common as clouds. However, there were very few realm lords. Even if there were, they were in ordinary worlds. There were no high-level realm lords. Night Sorrow was now the realm lord of a supreme world. This was too shocking. Yen Tianpa was the realm lord of the Wuji world. However, the Wuji world was only the core origin of a fire attribute world. After chatting with Datura, Night Sorrow rested for a while. He drank some wine and entered the dragon cauldron. He hid the dragon cauldron in the white fur on the ice cheelant's neck and let the ice cheelant advance along the profound ice river. Safe. The ice cheelant was a native demonic beast of the ice dragon realm. Ordinary demonic beasts would not attack them. At most, they would chase them away. Demonic beasts had their own territories. If other demonic beasts entered their territories without permission, they would be expelled. If they didn't leave, they would have to fight to the death. Night Sorrow was controlling the ice cheelant. Under such circumstances, how could Night Sorrow not let the ice cheelant retreat? Datura's original body stayed in the city in the sky. Every day, she would play with Datura and Qin Yen. With her taking care of the two children, Yu Qing and the others were relieved. They all knew that in the future, Datura would be Night Sorrow's woman. They were all family, so it was better to be close to the children. Everyone knew what kind of status Datura had. He didn't put on any airs, so it was rare for him to get along with everyone. This made Yu Qing, Sikong Chuyu, and the others feel relieved. No one wanted an unstable factor in their family, especially one that they couldn't control. If Datura was capricious, who could control him at home? Night Sorrow couldn't control him either. After all, he was so strong. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, Aoi, and the others were all in the city in the sky. Night Sorrow used the time and space pagoda in the Samsara Palace. They were studying realms and fighting techniques. When he saw that there was something wrong with everyone's cultivation or something they needed, Datura would say that he had a vision. A few words from him would be a clear path. Night Sorrow stayed in the dragon cauldron. He also used his soul power to explore. If there were good ores, he could still find them. The way of heaven was fair. The climate in the ice dragon realm was harsh. Some plants, which were natural treasures needed for alchemy, were rare. However, there were more top-grade ores. After a few days, Night Sorrow had a big harvest. He obtained a reincarnation stone, which was the material for the reincarnation blade. This made Night Sorrow very happy. Now that his original body was busy cultivating, there was no battle, so he didn't deal with the reincarnation stone. In fact, the reincarnation stone still had a lot of room for improvement. Lin Yuandao helped Night Sorrow to upgrade the reincarnation stone. At that time, it was a spiritual weapon. Later, after being nourished by the heaven-sealing Great Hall, it absorbed the divine weapon Qi in the 9 regions origin Qi and became a king weapon. However, in the end, the refinement was very rough. The formations that Lin Yuandao carved in the reincarnation stone were all ordinary formations. Not to mention king-level formations, they weren't even saint-level formations. However, if Night Sorrow wanted to upgrade the reincarnation stone, he needed materials. The reincarnation stone to upgrade the strength of the blade was very important. Now that he had obtained the reincarnation stone, it was very important for Night Sorrow. In addition, under Night Sorrow's thinking, the ice cheelant also knew about battles. It would kill some demonic beasts that provoked it. Night Sorrow realized that the ice cheelant was a little dull at the beginning. It was an eyesore. However, after a battle, its combat power was extremely strong. Some 3-star king-level demonic beasts were easily killed. Night Sorrow felt that the ice cheelant relied on its tyrannical body and valiant fighting style. Even a 4-star king-level demonic beast might not be its opponent. During the journey, the ice cheelant was chased away twice. Because the other party was strong, Night Sorrow told the ice cheelant not to resist and to take a detour after leaving the other party's territory. Easy. Night Sorrow knew that the ice cheelant was leading him. The reason it was so smooth was because the ice cheelant was a native beast. As long as the ice Qilin was willing to back down, the other high-level beasts wouldn't kill him. If it were him, the Lord-level beasts would directly attack. They wouldn't stop until they were dead. When Datura was free, he would chat with Night Sorrow. However, he did so behind others' backs. He didn't want Night Sorrow's family to worry. When Night Sorrow wasn't around, Datura went to the lake. Every time he went to the lake, he would chat with Night Sorrow. In the Azure Sky Pavilion, the Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi were talking. Datura had almost killed Zhang Taiyang. This was something that the Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi had seen with their own eyes. Zhang Taiyang had paid a high price to redeem one of his arms. This matter was also known by the Qing Emperor's secret agents. Datura is really strong now. Zhang Taiyang has kicked an iron plate this time. Xian Daozi said. In the past, there were strong and weak powerhouses among the powerhouses. However, it was impossible for anyone to kill anyone. Therefore, there was a balance. No one would force anyone into a corner. If they were forced into a corner, they would act recklessly. Everyone had their misgivings. However, Datura doesn't have this concern now because she has the strength to kill a Sky Master. This time, she didn't want to go too far. If she wanted to go too far and continue to chase, Zhang Taiyang wouldn't even dare to return to Sky Seizing Island. The leader of the northern district of the world of reincarnation would have changed hands. The Qing Emperor said. Chapter 4, Previous chapter. In the past, Datura wasn't this strong. It was only after meeting Night Sorrow that she became so fierce. Is there a connection between the two? If he has a way to help Datura increase her strength, it wouldn't make sense if he didn't help His Majesty. Xian Daozi said. This was what he was thinking. He felt that he had to say it out loud. What nonsense are you spouting? If I hadn't come to find His Majesty, would it be your fault if there was a conflict between His Majesty and His Majesty? Summer City, who had just arrived at the Azure Sky Pavilion, glared at Xian Daozi. Chapter 12:28. Xian Daozi did not say anything. He knew that if Summer City said this, then there must be a reason. He knew what kind of person Summer City was. He would not speak carelessly. Look at the chapters in the F and. Upper QV, Qing Emperor also looked at Summer City. Because Summer City said this, it was obvious that he knew something. Summer City looked at Qing Emperor and did not say anything. Then if you know something, why don't you say it? Xian Daozi asked. Summer City, Xian Daozi, we have been brothers for many years. There is no problem. Qing Emperor nodded at Summer City. Soul cultivation liquid. His Highness has soul cultivation liquid. His Highness asked me a long time ago. He knew that both Your Majesty and I have used soul cultivation liquid before, so he did not say anything. Datura has not used it before, so there is room for improvement, Summer City said. So that is the case. Datura is talented. Without using soul cultivation liquid, he is on par with us. Now that he has used soul cultivation liquid, he will naturally surpass us. Qing Emperor nodded. Your Majesty, I cannot betray Your Highness. I cannot report everything to Your Majesty. But in Your Highness' words, he has never betrayed Master or the Empire, Summer City said. I understand. I can understand. Who doesn't have a bit of desire? It's good that he chose the right path. He's very much like me. I cultivate the way of a gentleman, while he cultivates his heart and morals. Xian Daozi, don't say anything inappropriate in the future. I trust him completely, said Emperor Qing, looking at Xian Daozi. Xian Daozi bowed and nodded. Summer City, you did the right thing. In the future, if Night Sorrow encounters anything difficult, you just have to tell me. You don't have to report anything else to me. He should have his own world. Qing Emperor said to Summer City. I understand. Since your highness calls me Uncle Xia, I will take good care of him. I will not let him go down the wrong path. Summer City bowed. What brings you here today? Qing Emperor asked. No, your highness is not in the Nine Chong Pagoda. I just wanted to come back and have some tea with your highness and Xian Daozi, Summer City said. All you do is spend all day with your little highness. You even know to come back for tea. Xian Daozi gave Summer City a disdainful look. What's wrong? Don't call him little highness. I don't like the sound of that. His Highness Knight Sorrow is young, but he's a big shot who controls an entire world. Although he's not as strong as you right now, he's much stronger than you in other aspects. Summer City glared at Xian Daozi. Xian Daozi, what Summer City said is right. We can't look at Knight Sorrow like we're looking at a child. He has the right outlook on life and the right view of the world. There's nothing wrong with his leadership skills. What he lacks is strength. Time can make up for that, Qing Emperor said. What are you standing there for? Make the tea. Summer City pointed at the teapot. You want to drink tea? Can't you make it yourself? Xian Daozi was furious. Summer City didn't give him any face. If I could make good tea myself, why would I come to the Azure Sky Pavilion to wait for you to make it? Summer City replied confidently. All right, Xian Daozi, make the tea. Summer City and Sandalwood are the same in this regard. The tea they make is unpalatable, Qing Emperor said with a smile. This was innate. The way of tea was a display of one's personality and temperament. Without a calm and stable state of mind, one couldn't play the way of tea well. Sandalwood couldn't do it, and Summer City couldn't do it either. His Highness has already said it. What are you waiting for? Hurry up, Summer City muttered. After Xian Daozi made the tea, Summer City held the teacup and slowly sipped it. Xian Daozi, bring Sheng Wanhong in. Qing Emperor nodded to Xian Daozi. At that moment, Sheng Wanhong arrived outside the Azure Sky Pavilion. Sheng Wanhong entered the Azure Sky Pavilion. After bowing to Qing Emperor, he looked at Summer City. What kind of world is this now? Aren't all vulgar people drinking tea? How can they taste tea now? Old man, who are you calling vulgar? You have a belly full of dirty tricks, yet you still have the face to call others vulgar? Everyone has to improve. Can't I, Summer City, be refined? Remember, you also need to improve. Don't put on a hypocrite face all day long. Be true to yourself, Summer City said, swirling the teacup in his hand. I came to drink tea with His Highness today. Meeting you really makes me lose my appetite. Sheng Wanhong pointed at Summer City. He wanted to retort, but he didn't think it was appropriate. He just looked at him with disdain. Shengguan, Xian Daozi, you have to admit that Summer City has really improved. In the past, you would have slammed the table, but now he's sitting very steadily. A few words from him are enough to make you feel suffocated, Qing Emperor said. Xian Daozi looked at Summer City and nodded. Sheng Wanhong could only turn his head and admit it, because Summer City had indeed changed. Your Highness, don't say that. Your subordinate just looked at His Highness. No matter how angry he was, he didn't say anything rude. He was as steady as Mount Tai. I felt that he was very imposing, so I tried to learn. Summer City was embarrassed by Qing Emperor's words. You've been by my side for countless years, but you can't learn the way of a gentleman. Knight Sorrow is true to his nature. You have something in common, so you can feel it. This is a good thing. Qing Emperor nodded. The four of them drank tea. Sheng Wanhong still liked to tease Summer City when he had nothing to do, but Summer City's emotionless retort made him feel very uncomfortable. Qing Emperor just smiled. The three of them were his old brothers. He was very gratified that their quarrel didn't hurt their friendship. This was because he valued brotherhood very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so angry last time. Night Sorrow continued to advance steadily every day. However, at night, he would set up camp and teach Ice Chilin how to fight. Other than that, he would also instill some worldviews. Fortunately, Ice Chilin was simple, but its intelligence wasn't a problem. It understood all the concepts that Night Sorrow instilled. When Night Sorrow rested, Ice Chilin would cultivate. After advancing for a month, Ice Chilin advanced. It should have been an epiphany. Its cultivation directly rushed from a 3-star king to a 4-star king. Talent. Night Sorrow could only be envious. Talented demonic beasts were indeed powerful. Take Tianyu and Yimei for example. They didn't have any bottlenecks when advancing. After advancing, Ice Chilin became even more powerful. Its body also grew a little bigger. When it stood up, it was more than 6 meters tall. Night Sorrow worked hard every day. The Ice Dragon world was very big. There was no teleportation array. It would take a long time to reach the core area of the Ice Dragon world. However, Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. His original body was increasing his chi cultivation in the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. His clone couldn't do anything. He just had to pay attention to his safety and advance slowly. While advancing, Night Sorrow also studied array formations. After knowing that Night Sorrow had obtained the corpse of the profound Ice Chilin Tiger King, Datura found some array formation books for Night Sorrow. He handed them to Night Sorrow's clone in the Sky Ceiling Great Hall. Night Sorrow's 2 clones were now studying and deducing array formations. Array formations were broad and profound. Without a good state of mind and endurance, it was impossible to study array formations. However, Night Sorrow didn't lack either. Night Sorrow mainly studied the ancient array diagram that Datura had given him. The 9 underworld slaughtering god array was indeed domineering. Chapter 1229. The mystical Ice Kirin Tiger King was an ice-type beast, but it was not restricted to only setting up ice-type formations. With it as the core, any formation could be set up. Of course, it was not suitable for fire-type formations. Night Sorrow was not in a hurry. It was still early, and he could take his time to study it. Ice Chilin and Night Sorrow's communication was becoming more and more tacit. Ice Chilin could carry out any of Night Sorrow's orders, and his combat techniques were becoming more and more proficient. Disregarding everything else, Ice Chilin's combat strength was astonishing just by relying on his tyrannical body. Night Sorrow did not know how the other teams were doing, but he felt that with Ice Kirin's help, they should be able to get close to the center of the Ice Dragon world. As they moved forward, there were often beasts blocking their way. Ice Kirin needed to fight, and after going through battles, its aura became fiercer and fiercer. However, when it talked to Night Sorrow, it was still very docile. At this moment, Li Tianba was talking to his son in the beast-like Black Fiend Palace in the Black Fiend Valley. Li Ying had already reported to Li Tianba what happened last time. He knew that it was the dark abyss that made him suffer a great loss. If there's one person you can't mess with in the reincarnation world, it's the Dark Lord Datura. His strength has already broken the balance. Zhan Taiyang, the island lord of Duo Tian, was almost killed by him. The other Sky Masters are also in the same situation when facing him. So even if you lose out, you have to accept it. If you anger him, your father and your uncle will not be able to protect you. Li Tianba's eyes were filled with unwillingness. Everyone wanted to be an overlord, and he had been working hard all this time. When he saw Datura's strength, he felt a great impact on his heart. He also felt helpless. At the level of a Sky Master, it was very difficult to increase one's strength because one's realm and cultivation had reached a bottleneck. So, it was unrealistic for Li Tianba to surpass Datura. Father, isn't Night Sorrow the Qing Emperor's disciple? Why did Datura suddenly interfere? He even said that he would protect the world that Night Sorrow was born in. That is something that I do not understand, Li Ying said. Things in the eastern district of the world of Samsara are more complicated. When there are no external enemies, Datura, the Qing Emperor, and the Red Emperor often fight against each other. But when there are external enemies, the three of them will unite against the external enemies. In short, this matter is temporarily put aside. Even if they can't put it aside, they can only act secretly. Li Tianba did not dare to provoke Datura, nor did he want to provoke the Qing Emperor. This time, when Li Ying went to the Qing Emperor's dynasty to cause trouble, the Qing Emperor sent out a wave of assassinations. The Black Fiend Valley suffered great losses. Father, I plan to go to the Samsara Palace for closed-door training to see if there is a chance to reach a higher level, Li Ying said. New fastest up, go. If you can fully comprehend your will, the overall strength of the Black Fiend Valley will far surpass that of other forces. Li Tianba nodded. Li Ying nodded and left. After returning to his mansion, he called for Li Kai, whose strength was weakened because his doppelganger was killed. Send out spies to observe Night Sorrow, but don't do anything. Li Kai nodded and went to do it. He knew that Li Ying had not given up, but he could not do something too blatantly now. After giving instructions, Li Ying left. His original body went to the Samsara Palace to cultivate, and his doppelganger could still handle some things. Night Sorrow moved forward every day, and occasionally chatted with Datura. The core area of the Ice Dragon realm was not something that could be reached in a short time. Even if the Ice Qilin was extremely fast, it still could not be reached. The main reason was that the high-level world was too big and its area was too wide. Night Sorrow did not feel tired. He stayed in the Dragon Cauldron every day, and used his soul power to investigate the situation. If there were any precious ores, he would collect them. As the days passed, Night Sorrow's Jinqi continued to rise. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. However, Night Sorrow confirmed from the map that he had only covered part of the journey, and was still far from reaching the core area. During the year, Night Sorrow's harvest was not small. He collected a lot of ores, and all of them were of the highest quality. It should be known that the last time the Ice Dragon realm appeared was tens of millions of years ago, and the people who came there were only exploring in danger. There were many areas that were unexplored. During the year, Night Sorrow's Jinqi cultivation had reached the 2-star king realm. With the acceleration of the pagoda of time and space, and with enough resources, he increased his cultivation by 1 level in 20 years. This was a shocking speed, because many people, even if their realm was high enough, would need to cultivate for many years before their cultivation could catch up. Resources were a problem that everyone worried about. Of course, cultivators with high status and good backgrounds did not have to worry about this problem. Night Sorrow had accumulated a lot of origin spiritual liquid and a reserve of Holy Spirit stones, so he did not have the disadvantage of lacking resources. As his Jinqi cultivation increased, Night Sorrow's Great Emperor Reincarnation/'s power increased. After all, the Great Emperor Reincarnation/ was based on void energy, laws, and will. Every night, after setting up camp, Night Sorrow would cultivate his battle skills, the Void Extreme Kill, and the Great Emperor Reincarnation/. Night Sorrow, you're really good. You can really endure loneliness, Datura said once again. I've only been here for a year. Others have lived for tens of millions of years. Only those who have lived for hundreds of millions of years can endure loneliness, Night Sorrow said with a smile. What age is that? You're used to it. You're still young, so it's good that you have such patience, Datura said. It's Yujun's and Qingyan's birthday. You said that I was in seclusion. No one suspected anything, right? Night Sorrow asked after taking a sip of wine. They miss you a lot, but I told them that you were in seclusion. So, they didn't ask any more questions, but they were disappointed, Datura said helplessly. I don't know how long it'll take for me to go back. I can't help it. Night Sorrow felt uncomfortable when he heard that his son and daughter were disappointed. How about this? Go home with your original body this year and then go to the Reincarnation Palace to cultivate. That way, the children will be happier, Datura said. Okay, then I'll make the best use of my time and try my best to increase my cultivation. The next time it's their birthday, I'll definitely go back, Night Sorrow said. You have to be steady. Increasing your cultivation isn't something that can be done in a day or two, Datura reminded Night Sorrow. I know. Don't worry. My cultivation level is high enough, and my understanding of will is high enough. As long as I increase my chi cultivation, it won't be a big problem. Night Sorrow was very confident about this. Datura nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's state of mind was fine. Then, Night Sorrow rode on the ice Qilin and continued forward. One day, just as they were about to rest, Night Sorrow discovered that the spiritual energy in front of them was very dense. A mine. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. He knew that he had encountered a mine, a very large one. After a few more steps, Night Sorrow found out the reason. Above the mine was a cracked sky. All sorts of violent auras and energy descended from the sky. This was the reason why the mine was filled with spiritual energy. Night Sorrow held the space splitter and blasted a hole in the ice mountain. He let the ice Qilin guard the hole while he dug inside. Chapter 1230. But in fact, after Night Sorrow went in, the ice Qilin couldn't stay outside. It slammed its body into the hole that Night Sorrow dug and then went in. The ice Qilin's body was big and couldn't fit into the hole that Night Sorrow dug, but the mountain wall couldn't withstand its strength. It slammed its body and followed Night Sorrow into the hole. Night Sorrow was speechless. The ice Qilin was a little clingy and kept following him. Night Sorrow didn't say anything and could only continue digging. The ice Qilin kept expanding the tunnel behind him. After digging for a few feet, Night Sorrow took a deep breath. All he saw were top-grade spirit stones. There were top-grade spirit stones in the periphery. Night Sorrow was sure that after digging for a bit, there would be holy spirit stones. Ice Qilin, slam into it. It was tiring to dig. Night Sorrow shouted at the ice Qilin and then communicated with the dragon cauldron to let the weapon spirit collect the spirit stones. The ice Qilin roared and began slamming its body against the mountain wall of the spirit stone mine. After the spirit stones fell from the stones, they flew into the dragon cauldron. The dragon cauldron was collecting them, and Night Sorrow's sky splitter kept attacking. The spirit stones were dug out very quickly. It could be said that the ice Qilin was moving the spirit stones into the dragon cauldron for Night Sorrow and the ice Qilin. As they dug, Night Sorrow and the ice Qilin had more space to move around. Although they had entered the ice mountain, the light was very good and the place was full of sparkling crystals. Night Sorrow was resting. When he was drinking tea, the concentric crystal in his sleeve vibrated. Night Sorrow took out the concentric crystal and went in with Datura. What's going on? Are all these sparkling crystals? Datura asked in surprise. That's right. I'm going to be rich this time. In just a short while, I got more than 10,000 holy spirit stones. I just started digging, Night Sorrow said with a smile. I do have a lot of holy spirit stones, but I haven't dug them out myself. You're giving me a great sense of accomplishment. Datura's eyes were filled with envy. Based on the density of the spirit chi, I estimate that we'll get at least a few 100,000 spirit chi. This job will take some time, Night Sorrow said as he turned to look at the walls of the catacombs. It's easy for you to say that. No one would complain about digging for too long. Datura looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. In fact, this job wasn't easy. If it weren't for the help of the ice Qilin and the dragon cauldron's weapon spirit, he would have taken a long time to dig. Now that the ice Qilin's body had crashed into the mountain wall, the dragon cauldron had collected the holy spirit stones. After a few days of digging, Night Sorrow had filled an entire storage ring with holy spirit stones from the dragon cauldron. There were 200,000 holy spirit stones in the ring. With 200,000 holy spirit stones, the mine wasn't finished yet. Night Sorrow felt that there was still room for more. Half a month later, Night Sorrow had finished digging the mine. Night Sorrow had dug up 500,000 Holy Spirit stones. The quality of the Holy Spirit stones was very high. In addition, Night Sorrow had also found many supreme-grade ores in the core of the mine. However, the most valuable one was the Holy Spirit liquid that Night Sorrow had found at the bottom of the mine. Update, new, fastest. The Holy Spirit liquid and the Spiritual Origin liquid were similar in nature. In terms of rarity, the Spiritual Origin liquid was rarer because it could only be found in places with Spiritual Origin stones. However, the Holy Spirit liquid contained more energy and was suitable for King to improve his cultivation. After digging, Night Sorrow came out of the catacombs and stretched his waist. This was a mature high-level world. There were mature mines here, which were not found in ordinary spatial worlds. Night Sorrow had entered other spatial worlds before. However, the highest level of spiritual stones was supreme-grade spirit stones. There was a huge difference between the two. Night Sorrow knew that this was an opportunity. Even in a high-level world, mines that contained hundreds of thousands of Holy Spirit stones were extremely rare. Only the Ice Dragon world, which was the best of the high-level worlds, could nurture such a mine. After tidying up, Night Sorrow looked at the ice mountain behind him. The spirit chi was gradually decreasing. He flashed to the back of the ice Qilin and continued forward. Night Sorrow knew that he wouldn't have to worry about Holy Spirit stones in the future. The speed at which he consumed Holy Spirit stones was extremely shocking. He was an array master and often set up arrays. It was normal for a large array to consume tens of thousands of Holy Spirit stones. Datura was also very envious of Night Sorrow's adventure. She had never experienced something like this before. Aluo, go to that high-level world, which is the entrance to the Ice Dragon world, and check out the situation. If possible, I will go back once. Help me send the Holy Spirit liquid to the Samsara Palace. My original body will speed up its cultivation. This way, my cultivation and realm can match as soon as possible. I have a transmission array and can go back and forth quickly. Night Sorrow said as he shook the concentric crystal. Datura naturally supported Night Sorrow's idea. She was most afraid that Night Sorrow would treat her as an outsider and not need her for anything. After half a day, Datura shook the concentric crystal and told Night Sorrow that she had arrived at the high-level world at the entrance. Night Sorrow set up a transmission array and connected it with his own hidden transmission array. Then, he started the transmission. Returning to the vicinity of the entrance, Night Sorrow carefully checked that no one was squatting at the entrance. Then, he tore open the space and returned to the place where the group of people had gathered. Then, he handed the 2 bottles of Holy Spirit liquid to Datura. Aluo, then I will go back and continue forward. Night Sorrow nodded to Datura. Be careful. Datura nodded to Night Sorrow. She knew that Night Sorrow had gained a lot, but he had also taken a great risk. After tearing open the space and returning to the Ice Dragon world, Night Sorrow took the transmission array back to the original position. He dismantled the transmission array and continued to explore forward. After moving forward for a while, Night Sorrow received a message from Datura. She had arrived at the Samsara Palace. At this time, Night Sorrow's original body knew that his original body was not in deep seclusion. His soul was connected to his doppelganger's soul. After communicating with the Samsara Palace, Night Sorrow came out to collect the resources. Then, he went back and continued to cultivate. At present, Night Sorrow's original body was in charge of cultivating and improving his cultivation. His doppelganger took care of some trivial matters and created better conditions. Ice Qilin moved forward. Night Sorrow stayed in the Dragon Cauldron. It was not hard, but he had to constantly use his soul power to explore. Ice Qilin was very strong, but its tyrannical part was its body. Its soul power was not as good as Night Sorrow's. Night Sorrow and Ice Qilin's resting time had also decreased. They kept moving forward every day. In fact, they did not need to rest. Resting was just relaxing. Night Sorrow knew that they had 30 years. However, looking at the map now, they had only traveled less than 1/3 of the way. If they continued to walk and stop, it would take a few years to reach the central area. In addition, when they reached the central area, Knight Sorrow would have to withdraw Ice Chelan and explore by himself. It was still very time-consuming. While his original body was cultivating, Knight Sorrow planned to use his doppelganger to accompany his family. He could not spend all his time in the Ice Dragon world. Knight Sorrow had always cherished everything he had now. Knight Sorrow changed his route. He let Ice Chelan fly along the mystic ice river. He could walk in a straight line according to the map, but it was very dangerous. Many places were the territories of high-level demon beasts. It was better to follow the mystic ice river. Because the mystic ice river's water flow was fierce, it carried energy waves. If one did not pay attention, they would not find Ice Chelan. The days passed like this as they advanced. Battles were common. If a strong opponent appeared, Knight Sorrow would have the Ice Chelan retreat. Otherwise, they would just kill. Dodging meant wasting time. Chapter 1231. While Knight Sorrow was advancing, the 9 regions world was also shaking. The evil spirit king brought Sangjiang, the number 1 king, to attack the 9 regions world. They even broke the spatial barrier of the 9 regions world and entered the 9 regions world. Knight Sorrow's clone in the heavens sealing Great Hall used the empty spirit pearl given by the Qing Emperor to seal the evil spirit king and Sangjiang inside. The crisis of the 9 regions world was resolved, but the tribulation was not over yet. Because the evil spirit king and Sangjiang had to be killed, the 9 regions world would devour the evil spirit world to strengthen itself. There was no danger now, but it was still unable to advance. The evil spirit king was very disgusting. It was a man and a woman, and it was both yin and yang. Currently, Knight Sorrow had no way to deal with it. The empty spirit pearl was able to suppress these two. Even though the clone from the heavens sealing Great Hall had a sovereign king weapon and the source, it was still unable to kill the evil spirit king and Azure River. If he could ask someone else to do it, it would not be difficult to kill the disgusting evil spirit king. However, this matter had to be solved by the people of the 9 regions world. If Knight Sorrow could not do it, then the people of the 9 regions world could not do it either. Knight Sorrow's clone in the heavens sealing Great Hall threw the empty spirit pearl into the heavens sealing Great Hall to suppress it. Breakthrough. The heavens sealing Great Hall kept reinforcing the empty spirit pearl with the origin of the 9 regions world, stabilizing the empty spirit pearl and suppressing it. There was no possibility of the evil spirit king and Sangjiang coming out. Q original P First Knight Sorrow, who was far away in the ice dragon realm, felt at ease. The evil spirit king and Sangjiang had always been his worry. Even with the empty spirit pearl, Knight Sorrow had never truly felt at ease. After all, there were many unstable factors. Now that the problem was solved, Knight Sorrow celebrated by himself. He drank a jar of wine and continued forward. The main body used the Holy Spirit liquid to cultivate in the pagoda of time and space. Knight Sorrow's clone could feel his true qi increasing rapidly. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Sandalwood returned with a woman. The woman was very delicate and had a spiritual aura. Sandalwood brought the woman to meet the Qing Emperor. Master, disciple is planning to get married. Sandalwood bowed. Alright, she's called E, right? Actually, I already knew. Just pick an auspicious day and do it, the Qing Emperor said to Sandalwood and the woman she brought back. Thank you, Master, please keep it simple. E and I don't mind, said Sandalwood. That won't do. You are my first disciple, and E has been waiting for you for so many years. The wedding cannot be simple. It has to be grand. 5 million years ago, the world of samsara knew the name Sandalwood. 5 million years later, others also need to know the name. Qing Emperor rejected the idea of a simple wedding. Master and disciple were like father and son. He didn't want his disciple's wedding to be simple. Then I'll listen to Master. I'll go have a drink with junior brother later, Jean-Tan said. I'm afraid you won't be able to see him for a while. His original body is cultivating in the Samsara Palace, and his doppelganger went to the Ice Dragon realm. He's really working hard, just like you back then. Some things are suppressed in his heart, and he's trying his best to improve his strength, the Qing Emperor said. Junior brother isn't here? Then I'm not in a hurry to get married. There are only a few important people in my world. Master didn't say anything, but junior brother must be here too. I can't lose anyone but junior brother, Sandalwood said. Then I'll listen to you. Xian Daozi, how's the construction of the heavy flower palace? The Qing Emperor asked. Soon. It will be completed soon, Xian Daozi bowed. Sandalwood, you don't need anything, and you don't care about anything. After you were reborn, I arranged for people to build a palace. This will be your wedding gift, the Qing Emperor said. Sandalwood nodded. He was very excited. The Qing Emperor was no different from a father in his heart. After all these years, he still hadn't given up on him. Master, when I came back, I saw the Qing Emperor's guards and the Imperial City guards increasing their patrols. Is something the matter? Sandalwood recalled what he saw when he came back. Yes. Your junior brother has been in the limelight for a long time. Many people want to harm him. Something happened a while ago, so I sent people to reorganize the Qing Emperor's city. The Qing Emperor nodded. There are people who are stupid enough to cause trouble in the Qing Emperor's city? Sandalwood raised his eyebrows. Yes. It's not a force yet. It's mainly because some people are jealous of what Knight Sorrow did, so there are some disputes. Xian Daozi explained what happened a while ago. They're really asking for it. They're bullying my junior brother because he's young and hasn't cultivated for long. Master, I'm going to kill them. What Black Fiend Valley? Others might be afraid, but I'm not afraid of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. I'm not afraid either. Sandalwood was furious when he heard that the 9-story tower was attacked. You don't have to worry about this. I've already taken care of it. You and Yi can relax for a while. Your past wasn't easy. Cherish the present and the future, the Qing Emperor said. He was very happy because his 2 disciples were as close as brothers. Sandalwood brought Yi back to a side courtyard next to the Qing Emperor's palace. It was his residence 5 million years ago. 5 million years had passed. Everything had changed, but this side courtyard was still the same. It was the residence of the eldest disciple. The Qing Emperor had always sent people to take care of it. I'm sorry. We had to wait for junior brother to get married. In my life, the 3 most important people are Master, junior brother, and you. Sandalwood looked at Yi and said. He gave you a chance to stand up again. He also gave us a chance. Although I haven't seen him before, I'm still very grateful. Yi said. Junior brother's charisma is extremely high. He's a world overlord. I'll know once I see you. However, I don't know when that fellow will return. Let's go, we'll stay in the 9-story tower. The other princes all have their own palaces. In the future, we'll stay in the heavy flower palace. We'll stay in the side courtyard when we're free. Yi smiled and nodded. She knew that Sandalwood was just like what the Qing Emperor said. He didn't lack anything and didn't care about anything. He had such thoughts because of her. When they arrived at the 9-story tower, Sandalwood treated it like it was his own home. He directly called for Hichio to arrange a place for them to stay. After that, he brought Yi to the army camp. The army stationed in the 9-story tower was the Enping army. When the army commander, Ning, saw Sandalwood, he bowed. Knight Sorrow was the current commander and was someone he respected. Sandalwood was also someone he respected. All right, there's no need to be so polite. Call them over for a drink. As for the new commanders, don't forget to call them over. Sandalwood said to Ning. Nu Lin, Qin Leiting, and the others came. However, Qi Wang didn't come. It wasn't that he didn't want to come. It was because of the military order. Knight Sorrow had said that the Heaven Tiger Pass must be guarded by a commander. This was an ironclad rule. The commander of the Nine Heavens army had to follow it. It's not suitable to lack one. Let's go to the Heaven Tiger Pass and drink in the commander's residence. I'm in a good mood today. Sandalwood said. Sandalwood, this is your fault. Why didn't you call me over for a drink? Summer City appeared. Chapter 1232. Uncle Summer, why are you so mysterious? I went to the hall just now and didn't see you. This is Uncle Summer. He has taught me before and is the most trusted person of our master. Jean Tan introduced. Bowed to the county seat. Very good, very good. Although your highness has gone through some hardships, it's time for you to start a family. We can't let you down. Summer City nodded. Uncle Summer, don't worry. I won't. Jean Tan nodded. Then let's go drink together and come back to study how to make tea. That hypocrite Sheng Wanhong keeps saying that I don't know how to make tea. I have to make it. Summer City lifted the tea bag in his hand and said. He had gone out to buy some good tea. Hee. Uncle Summer, let's make this together. Master said that I'm not calm enough and wants me to cultivate tea. Jean Tan said. Then let's do it together. That hypocrite is full of bad ideas. Who is he trying to attack by making tea? I don't believe we can't figure it out. Summer City said. Junior brother is an expert in this field. It's a pity he's not here. Jean Tan was worried about Night Sorrow. He knew about the Ice Dragon Realm and how dangerous it was. At this moment, Night Sorrow was in the dragon cauldron on the back of the Ice Cheelant's neck. He was drinking tea and looking outside. The danger wasn't high. If the beasts came, he would fight. As for the teams that came in, Night Sorrow felt that the chances of encountering them were low. He had followed the Mystic Ice River, which was one of the fastest routes. It had been more than a year, so the chances of encountering cultivators were low. But in fact, Night Sorrow still encountered a team. A very despicable team led by a woman. When Night Sorrow sensed the team and told the Ice Cheelant to change direction, the team began to chase after him at an extremely fast speed. Night Sorrow naturally couldn't fight with them. There were more than 10 of them, and each of them had a higher cultivation than him. It would be dangerous if they caught up. Night Sorrow commanded the Ice Cheelant to enter the Glacier River. He then asked the Ice Cheelant not to resist. Afterward, he used his soul power to collect the Ice Cheelant into the Dragon Cauldron. Afterward, he smashed the Dragon Cauldron into the bottom of the river. Since he couldn't outrun them, Night Sorrow could only hide. He didn't believe that they could find him because they were still some distance away. They wouldn't be able to see his movements clearly and wouldn't know how he hid. Night Sorrow had just hidden for a moment when this group of people also entered the profound ice river with their protective chi shields and began to search. Senior sister, was that a mystic jade unicorn tiger? A man asked. Yes, it's also called a profound jade beast. According to the records, it's called a profound ice unicorn tiger. However, something's not quite right. The profound ice unicorn tiger has a violent temper and is fond of killing. It doesn't make sense for it to run away when it sees us. Moreover, it disappeared after entering the profound ice river, said the woman. Let's search. If we can catch it, we can bring it back to the Shenwu Great World. It's also a rare treasure, said the man who spoke. Our fortune gate needs this. The profound ice unicorn tiger is very difficult to tame, but as long as we can catch it and bring it back, it'll be fine. When a high-grade ice-attributed demonic beast dies, its body's energy will be sealed in ice and won't dissipate. We can use a secret method to extract its life force and turn it into a complete skeleton. The woman explained as she searched. How cruel. Their methods were also vile, directly extracting its life force and leaving it a complete skeleton. Night Sorrow hadn't thought that there would be such a cruel person. Killing it was one thing, but doing so was completely inhumane. After searching for a while, the group of people once again gathered at Night Sorrow's hiding place. Senior sister, this shouldn't be the case. The profound ice unicorn tiger disappeared here, and then there was no aura or energy fluctuation. Another man said. It's a little strange. Let's go. The woman in the lead said. Night Sorrow kept probing with his soul force, and then smiled. Not only were these people inhumane, they were also very sinister. Although they said they were going, they were hiding not far from the shore. Let's compete in patience then. Night Sorrow stayed inside the dragon cauldron, and slowly drank a pot of hot tea. The inside of the dragon cauldron was much more comfortable than the world of ice and snow outside. 2 days later, the group of people once again appeared at the bottom of the river to search. Dark holes, space tunnels, and the like, look for more. The profound ice unicorn tiger can't just disappear under our noses. The woman in the lead said. She was the granddaughter of the Fortune Gate's Grand Elder, Bai Yun. She came out this time to accumulate experience and slowly climb up the Fortune Gate's ranks. The profound jade unicorn tiger was a very good resource, and capturing it would be a great merit, but now it couldn't be found. Bai Yun also had a map in her hands. The Fortune Gate was very famous in the Shenwu Great World, and they were also very powerful, so it was normal for them to have a map of the Ice Dragon world. Bai Yun knew that there was a profound jade unicorn tiger in the profound ice river, but she didn't dare to go there because that was where the profound jade unicorn tigers lived. If she dared to swagger there, it was no different than seeking death. Therefore, she was very excited when she saw the profound jade unicorn tiger alone, but until now, she had found nothing. Patience, Night Sorrow didn't lack patience. Now that the enemy was in the light, and he was in the dark, all the opportunities were in his hands. He didn't need to do anything, he just needed to hide here and wait for Bai Yun and the others to leave. After searching for another day, Bai Yun gave up because there was no hope. Night Sorrow was a little depressed when he used his soul force to probe Bai Yun and the others moving along the profound ice river. This was equivalent to them taking the path he wanted to take. Night Sorrow wasn't willing to change their route because following the profound ice river would lead them to the Ice Dragon Abyss. The Ice Dragon Abyss was the core of the Ice Dragon world, and it wasn't far from the Ice Dragon ancestral land. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to follow them and let them lead the way. It was safer for him to stay at the back. Although Night Sorrow's cultivation was low, his soul force wasn't much weaker than others, and he also had the assistance of the 9 regions origin pearl. Therefore, he had the advantage and wouldn't lose out in scouting. Bai Yun and the others moved forward, while Night Sorrow controlled the 9 regions origin pearl to increase his soul force to the maximum limit. Then, he rode on the ice unicorn and flew along the profound ice river. Night Sorrow felt that this was a good idea. He could avoid a lot of risks this way. Bai Yun and the others were inhumane, so he didn't feel guilty about using them. As for opportunities, Night Sorrow felt that he had already obtained what he needed. Not to mention, there were also top-grade ores in the profound ice river. If there was an opportunity, there would be. If there wasn't, there was no need to force it. After following them for 2 days, nothing happened. Night Sorrow knew that his plan was right. He would continue like this. Bai Yun and the others often had to fight. Their nature was different from Night Sorrow's because the battles that the Ice Unicorn could avoid, Bai Yun and the others couldn't. Night Sorrow didn't surpass Bai Yun and the others. When Bai Yun and the others fought, Night Sorrow would wait. When Bai Yun and the others moved forward, he would continue to follow. When he was chatting with Datura, Night Sorrow mentioned this matter. Datura laughed. Night Sorrow, your method is a bit shameless. You can't say that, right? If I'm not behind, won't they still have to fight? I'm just passing by, they won't lose anything. Night Sorrow said with a smile. 4th update. It's already very close to morning. I'm also sleepy, so I'll go rest for a while. Then, I'll continue working. Thank you for your support. Today's 11th update is expected. I feel that I can sleep for 2 hours and still be a hero. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.